And welcome to the Average Black Man Show. Let me bring up all my guests. Everybody introduce yourselves one at a time if you would be so kind, please. Unmute yourselves.
Hey everybody, I'm Cookie.
What's good? I'm D.
Everybody, it's
Hey,
your
I'm
girl
Devon.
Morphine. I'll be on here in a minute. I'll be right back.
All right, we got Mr. Paul and Miss Devonna. I don't know. Oh, okay, I hear him now. So today's topic that we're gonna be touching on promiscuity and monogamy and the body count and all the double standards and the misconceptions and everything that we got going on in our community on how we take these concepts and we apply them to a social standpoint and not from a biological standpoint. Anybody out here want to give your well, before we get started, let me pull up the definition so we can all have the same starting point as to what exactly a what promiscuity is from a biological standpoint.
Right.
Promiscuity is a mating system where there are no pair bonds. In this case, it seems that males and females mate randomly. Alrighty. So now that we got that out the way, feel free to jump in. Who want to come in and right away? Let's go down the line. Mugabe's on mute. So Miss Cookie, go ahead and drop your science.
Why I gotta go first?
She don't want to go first. I go first, even though
That
I'm not
that
a
that
carrier
that
yet.
Keisha go first.
Yeah,
Ladies first, whichever lady, Miss Devonna,
Mi-
anybody.
Miss Contentious.
I'm listening.
More contentious media. Get it right.
That's what I said.
All right.
Okay.
So no, I don't know if you said that. I'm just going to be PC. Just be PC. So
You good.
from the definition, are we saying? Can I say? I make a blanket statement that I just say that I don't think humans are naturally monogamous. I don't think we're gonna ever mate for life. For life, you could always hurt from a breakup, and it's painful. You mourn it like a death, but you usually you get over it with time, and you get to meet another person and make another bond with another person. So is that promiscuous behavior because you didn't mate for life? I just throw that on the board.
Literally, by the definition, it is.
I
That's what
mean,
he said. From a biological standpoint, that's what promiscuity is. Is when you don't mate for life. When you just ain't no such thing as pair bonding. You just go by different mates.
Right. And the particular type of promiscuity that human beings fall under is called serial monogamy. So, to give an example, in an animal kingdom, serial monogamy would be an animal that one season he mates with, this female. He gonna mate with her for this mating season. He sticks around long enough until the kids can take care of themselves. You get on. Next mating season, he has a different mate. Does the same thing, rinse and repeat, and then so on and so forth. You can see that in human beings by us having multiple boyfriends and girlfriends, and getting married 2 and 3 times throughout our lives. That's pretty much what it is. There is no sense of pair bonding because monogamy would be whoever we lost our virginity to would be the person we would still be with now.
Correct.
Have you ever watched that show called Black Mirror? Um, too on Netflix.
No, I've never seen it.
I have. I get
They
it.
got a they got an episode called Dance with the DJ or some shit. Well, basically, it's like it's like what you saying. So they promiscuous up until they get their final match. So throughout, like, is they in a system where the system makes you up with people who they think you're supposed to be with. They give you a certain time limit or whatever, and then you spend that time with that person. Then when the time over, they reset you and you start again over until you get your perfect match. So could that be that we're promiscuous until we're supposed to end up with who we're supposed to pair bond with forever?
Um, I don't know about that, but I see promiscuity slightly different. I think we can conflate monogamy and promiscuity, and promiscuity for me is you aren't tied to anyone in particular, and everybody that or most people that you are involved with will, if you're into just having open relationships, you're not, we've I want to be polite, man. I don't want to be doing all that cussing because um, you just having sex with different people,
Paul,
and there's no bond.
Paul, not to cut you off, but dick, snot, pussy, titty. It's okay, man.
Okay, well, you fucking right. We like fucking. So if you're not living with someone and you on your own, and this person, you got this one and that one out of your house, and you want to be promiscuous, by all means, that's your business. Who gives a fuck? I wouldn't. That's your
But
business.
but that
Um, but as to the point of monogamy, to me, that in the realm for us human beings, what was it? Someone said our higher intellect. We monogamy is supposed to be, for me, what it sounds like to me is dating someone and telling that person that they are the only one that matters to you. There's no outsiders, there's no sex with no one else, there's no sexting, none of that shit. So that's monogamy to me. Now, is it long lasting? For some it is. For others, in time you fall out for various reasons. I don't believe in that, oh, I'm just not feeling that person no more. No, there's a reason why you're not feeling that person anymore, and it
Mhm.
ends. But monogamy is not necessarily a lifelong commitment. It's a commitment for whatever amount of time that you two feel you want to do that. And then with that person, that's who you're monogamous with. That's just
Yeah,
my.
I agree with that.
If that made any sense, I don't know. I stumbled
No,
words or
I
whatever.
agree with that. I agree with that. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think anybody who's single does what the fuck they want until they get into an agreed, committed relationship. And even then, with communication, you guys set the tone on how your relationship is going to be, whether it's going to be open or closed. You know, um, I think we as humans have the capacity to make a choice if we want to be promiscuous or monogamous. Whether it can be biological or not. I mean, it's still a choice that one makes. But as long as communication is, very clear on what the goal is, and the direction is going into,
Mm.
I say go
Right,
for it.
right. Or to use a manosphere term, or Kevin Samuel's term, dating with intent. So
Yeah,
if you're
stay with
dating with
intent.
intent,
Hmm.
then it is about that person that you are with, that dating,
Correct.
and you are doing what's necessary for this person to know how important they are in your life. Now,
Correct.
again, like you said, if both parties are into this open relationship, fine.
Hmm.
Nobody can label what they do. That's, well, I mean, we could, but that's their business. But
Right.
as far as monogamous, if these two people feel like they can only deal with monogamy, then that's the commitment that you're trying that you've made by saying,
Hmm.
or at least try to agree to, or
Right.
anyway. I'm gonna be
But
quiet. I'm gonna
also
sit
too,
back.
also too, I mean, I think a lot of people mess up by not telling the truth and not communicating. And it's like in our eyes it may seem real simple, but it's like people don't realize generally people will go with what you're talking about, or wanting to experience, if you just communicate with them. So the problems that happen is people go into it lying, right? And then when something changes, that's when all hell breaks loose. But
Mm,
nothing was established in the beginning.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it has to be established in the very beginning.
I
Right.
can agree to that. Nothing was really concrete in the very beginning.
Right. Right.
And
And
motherfuckers
you know,
just
you just
started
got a lot
bringing
of
they
people out here just playing fucking games too. So then that's another issue. Like people just play too damn much. So
yeah, motherfuckers just showing up with they spin a night bag and then be there forever, you know.
right.
But most of everybody on this call, right, dates with intent, right? I believe everybody on here wants to be in a long term relationship, whether it be marriage or just being with the love of your life, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying about the example I gave earlier.
I can see it.
We're dating. So we call it promiscuous or whatever. We're dating because we're trying to find that match. We're trying to get that perfect match for us to have that long lasting relationship. But all of them not going to last that way. So when we finally get that, then it can be the whole um, for Tim's words, the whole monogamous thing. But I guess we'll all be considered promiscuous until we find our perfect match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see us. I don't see people dating and being monogamous with each other, and because they broke up, now they're being promiscuous. I disagree with that logic. No,
Well,
that's not.
you can. It's not about disagreeing with the logic. The definition says that because there's no pair bonding, so it means you're literally having different partners. So that's what makes it promiscuous. So as long as you have different partners, you're going to be considered promiscuous, unless you're just one partner. That's it. We in it together forever. If
But
you
what
if
about
it,
those? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying if it's multiple partners, then that's how it's gonna be. Is you're gonna be considered promiscuous. You can
Well, you
disagree with it, but that's the definition.
But
well, you
what if you bond with everybody you messing with? Has
well
that ever been the case?
the bond isn't there. Is the whole thing. The fact
Right.
that you can get married, get divorced, and then fall in love and marry somebody else is evidence
Mhm.
that you weren't permanently bonded to somebody, which is, by the biological definition, promiscuity.
Mhm.
It's more you
Mhm.
still have more than one partner, whether it's for 6 months or 6 years or 60 years. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
Don't get quiet now.
All right, don't get quiet now. So let me pull up monogamy.
Where's Medea at?
Are y'all talking to me? I'm ready though, because I just got into
I'm
it.
worried about Mugabe. He got stung by a bee. I don't know.
No,
He might have
Lord.
swole up. He might have swole up.
He over there swelled up somewhere.
That nigga crying right now.
Now,
I told him to put witch hazel on it.
from a biological standpoint, monogamy occurs when individuals have one mate for their entire lifetime for some specified period of time, and monogamy has been classified as a mating system in which neither sex is able to monopolize additional members of the opposite sex.
Uh, uh, read that one more
So
time.
that's
Tim. Read that one more time.
that's us, Tim. That's what we
Right,
practice
right.
today.
That's that. Well, when you add the prefix of serial to it, because we do it over and over and over and over again. We don't have a mate, one mate for a lifetime.
Well, but it also says or some specified period of
Period
time.
of time, right? It does say or, right? Exactly. Which is like I said, the example with the animal that I said, for this mating season, he's gonna get with this animal. They're gonna mate. He's gonna stick around, help raise the babies. When the babies can fend for himself, he get on, and then next season he do it again with another female.
Mhm.
That's kind of us.
I mean, I lean towards monogamy myself because I just don't have the energy and time to just be dealing with multiple folk. That's just too much.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Right.
that's
Now,
too
now let me
that's too
stir the
much.
pot
That's too
now.
much to deal with.
Now let me stir the pot. So now that we have an understanding of monogamy and promiscuity and understand that we as human beings are naturally promiscuous, what is this whole argument they got going on about this body count? Why is there such a virtue that men put on body count?
I'm not
Um,
sure, but you'll never know the true body count of a woman. She's not going to admit to that. Just like a
uh,
man's not going to admit to his body count.
No, a man will admit to his body count. Men,
Not all men do.
if right now one of the guys on this call was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna just be real. I didn't slept with 800 women. All the other men gonna be like, how'd you do that, nigga? What's the secret? Nigga,
But
right.
not all men are truthful about that.
you
So
didn't crack the code, bro. You didn't crack the code.
Actually, Cookie, it's not that we're not honest about it. Some of us just don't honestly remember.
I get that too. I get
Yeah,
that too. But what I'm saying is
shit, I don't know.
if you out there just fucking the world, you're not gonna really know your body count. So
Right.
why does it matter?
The flip side to that is that if, on the other hand, one of the women on the call hypothetically was to say, well, I I'm gonna just keep it real. I've had 800 sex partners. The men would be the main people like, 800, that's quite a bit, baby girl.
Yeah, that's a
I
question.
think it's a certain type of person that cares about body count, though. I don't think all men or most men or all women or most women care about. I think it's a particular individual that cares about body count. Because I've never really had the body count conversation
Conversation.
for real.
Like
Like,
nobody really has that when they're dating. It's like, oh, what's your butt? That's not really talked about. So
I've been
I agree
asked
with you.
that a
I've
time
had
or two.
I've had more sexual history conversations, right? That meaning she's told me about some of the things from her past. I've told her about some of the things from my past and things like that. But as far as counting, like, hey, well, how many women did you actually sleep with? Or how many men? There's never been a conversation that I've had like that for real.
Me either.
Mm.
What about y'all? Have y'all had it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've had maybe two people, maybe a few more than that, ask me, and I never really thought much of it. And I never cared about her body count, but I think I only asked the question because I felt like maybe I'm supposed to ask you now how many you,
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Because it was awkward for me. Like, why would you want to know that? Okay, well, how many did you have? And it didn't really bother me at the time, but I will say as I get older, it really doesn't matter to me at this point. Her body count means nothing to me right now
Mhm.
because that's like saying, okay, well, what about my body count? Now, just as us men look at women and go, oh, she's a this, that, and the third, some women might say, nah, you've been fucking any and everything. Ain't no telling what you put your dick in. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
women can have that view on us. So, and my reason for not saying is that to not be shamed of it is because it's just not important to me.
Right.
What's important to me, I mean, I'm really about the person, and here I'm gonna probably get a little sentimental. Somebody stop me before I get too far ahead of myself. But I'm about getting to know the woman and who she is. I don't give a fuck about,
That's
I
what's
want
up.
to know. I want to know if I chew too loud, will that annoy you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what's up.
If my feet smell bad, you gonna cuss me out. You gonna embarrass me. Stinky feet
Yes,
ass
it's
nigga.
very
we've
annoying
heard
for you to
we
chew very loud. It's super annoying. And don't do it in my ear neither because all I hear is, yeah.
Bro,
nah, but
I mean, things like that matter to me as
right. I agree with
I
you,
like I
Paul.
like that, Paul. I like that. Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I say sexual history matters way more than a number of how many people. There's motherfuckers that only had 5 partners, but they riddled with every kind of STD you can fucking
Right.
think of. There's motherfuckers that but 25 motherfuckers that been clean. You know what I'm saying? So sexual history matters much, much more than the number. What happened? Why does she choose to sleep with this many people? Why don't she like this? You know what I'm saying? All that shit matters. We can talk
As
about how
far as
these people, huh? What you say, Paul?
Oh, I think he got kicked off.
Oh, it sounded like he was saying something.
My brother John Nail just popped in. John Nail, how you doing today, good sir?
I'm good. I'm good. How y'all doing?
Hello.
How you feel about it, John? John, we're talking about monogamy, promiscuity, and body count, and how it affects us in our dating lives and selecting a mate and things like that. Now, what you've missed is we looked up the biological definition of promiscuity, and human beings are naturally promiscuous beings. We are serial monogamous. So, versus biological monogamy would be, the person you lost your virginity to will be the person you're still with now, and you would never touch another woman ever. So, what are your feelings and thoughts on that there, sir?
Well, let me just hear what y'all talking about first. I just hopped on, so before I jump in, not sure what context y'all talking about it all in.
well, I think what do you? Well, let me ask you this. I didn't catch your name because I had to reset my phone. What's your name, bro?
Jonelle,
Janelle. All right. What does monogamy mean to you?
being in a committed relationship, one on one with somebody.
Is there a set? Should that be a lifetime, or is it for a season, or you just what things that happen may be what they be, or what? What does that mean, though?
I mean,
A commitment.
for me, I would hope it be for lifetime. As that ain't the case, I mean, I've been divorced,
Mhm.
so I would hope it be a lifetime. But I mean, that ain't necessarily true because you can decide to be exclusive with somebody, and I would say you can commit just with that person.
Okay.
Right.
So what do you think of? What are
Or
your
you
thoughts
decide to
about
be.
promiscuity?
I don't like it.
Huh?
I said I wouldn't like it.
No,
He
no,
said,
I'm saying
You know
about
what?
human beings being promiscuous. Like, have you ever been promiscuous in your life?
Oh
Or what
yeah.
He
do
said he don't like it.
No, not talking about would I like my spouse being promiscuous? That's what I'm saying. See,
No, 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 no. That's not what I'm. No, no, that's not the question. I was talking just about the term promiscuous and what it means.
uh,
Because here's where we are with it, right? Um, I'm not sure if I'm getting Tim right, so somebody correct me. Uh, but I think Tim drew a parallel where, although we're monogamous, we are still promiscuous because oftentimes we've had so-called monogamous relationships that did not last, and then started seeing other people. And at the point that we stopped seeing the person we were monogamous with, we became promiscuous. If I understood what Tim was saying, I think that's where the conversation is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that made
Mm-hmm.
sense to you, did that make any sense? I'll try it again.
no, I think it makes sense.
So, what are your thoughts on that? From promiscuity and monogamy confounding each other to where the definitions are so blurred, it's hard to really, either are we actually promiscuous or are we, monogamous?
I would say
Don't
we're
answer that one, bro.
promiscuous.
And what are you
said
talking
Oh.
we
about,
both.
biologically, or what are you talking about?
I
Like
said we both.
as a society, or
Well, or we
Yeah,
both.
human.
One is a choice. One is what you would do biologically. You
Yes,
will
as a
always be
society.
attracted to someone. You're always going to be attracted to someone. So I would think that one is biologically and one is a choice. You choose to be monogamous. You choose to stay and be with one person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I agree with what she said. You're gonna be attracted to several motherfuckers, but you would
Yeah.
rather just be with this one person.
All
Right.
right. All right. Let me cut in with some
let me
Here
cut
come
in
the
with some.
devil.
Yeah,
Oh, here
let me
come
cut in here
Medea.
with some.
Here come
Finally,
the
I mean,
devil.
we were just
Yeah,
wondering where Moody Why
yeah.
was.
We were trying to.
So
Yeah,
We
I
didn't
thought
know
he
where
was
to
on the
take it.
side swelled
We
up somewhere.
yeah.
yeah,
We didn't know
Yeah,
where to
because
take
most
it
of us
without you, bro.
agreeing
We
right
was
we
now,
were
lost.
just
nigga. We need
wondering,
that
like,
yeah.
contention
what's
in
Moody
Now
what popping?
I've heard a lot of nice ass happy go lucky shit going on right now, and and I know y'all, y'all been watching Lifetime and sitting up Netflix and chill and shit, watching chick flicks with your girlfriend. I get it. I get it. Trust me, I get it. That shit, that warm and fuzzy feeling when you sit up there. I love you, baby. I love you too. We're gonna be together forever. We're gonna be together forever. I
Bro,
understand it.
bro, who hurt you?
But,
Who
but
hurt you,
bro,
bro?
here's it.
Cut
But
that shit off.
here's the biological facts behind this. The biological facts is this: as human beings, we are nothing more than basic primates. We're more intelligent than the rest of the primates, but we're basic primates. So if you want to see what human behavior is going to be sexually, you just look to the animal kingdom. You look to the chimpanzees. You look to the bonobos. You look to the gorillas. In none of these animals, in none of these species, do you see monogamy. I think that the concept of monogamy as we know it now. Let's throw away the serial monogamy. The we're all promiscuous because we're not with the person that we lost our virginity to. I mean, that's a strict definition. So let's just throw that away. I think that it's extremely foolish to tell a 25-year-old woman and a 25-year-old man that are infatuated with each other right now in 2023 to the point of love, to say that you guys are going to be sexually attracted to each other for the rest of your lives. And if you're not, that's a problem. I think that we're putting way too much pressure on those individuals. They're both going to grow. We don't know what their sexual appetites are going to grow like. One might grow a little
Mhm.
more. One might be a little less sexually inclined as they get older. One might be a little bit more. There's also been research that showed it wasn't done in the United States. It was done in Europe. It showed that monogamy causes erectile dysfunction in men. A lot of these men that are suffering from erectile dysfunction, it's not because they naturally have ED. It's because they've been fucking the same pussy too long. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
I'm
my
just being
God.
honest. Like it's just being real, y'all. Like about us as a species.
Wow.
Like I really
I got
understand
so
that.
many questions on this
Right.
subject, but it might go off topic, but I'm gonna let you keep going.
Right. And I just want people to understand that if you find some, I think it's extremely naive to look another human being in the eye and say, please don't fuck nobody for the rest of your life, because I'm not going to fuck somebody for the rest of my life. I think that's downright childish to have that notion, especially when you're younger. You can't expect that from 25, 20-year-old people. You can't expect that from 30-year-old people. You might be able to get it from some 40-year-olds. You might be able to get it from some 50-year-olds. But when you talk about somebody that's hypothetically a 25-year-old has just really started having sex within the last decade. Let's be honest. The average 25-year-old just started having sex within the last decade. So you want this person to say, okay, I just started getting some pussy and I'm going to fuck this pussy for the rest of my life. I just started getting some dick. I'm going to fuck this dick for the rest of my life. Understand how childish that is. And we need to move forward. And the default mechanism of a relationship should be an open relationship until y'all say, okay, you know what? Maybe we could do something different. But it shouldn't be the default shouldn't be monogamous.
Well,
That's why people are so upset.
right.
And I land the plane.
Well,
That
I
was a
said that
mouth. That
earlier.
was
I
a
feel
lot.
like the
That was a lot.
conversation needs to be had. No, but I mean, I agree with Medea to an extent because I feel like 20-year-olds should not be in a committed or a marriage. I mean, you're too young. You're still learning. That's a
Absolutely.
learning stage, right?
Absolutely.
But moving forward, I agree with Medea when it comes to that. The conversation needs to be had. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And when you're starting off, It is what it is until y'all
Right.
decide to be exclusive or not. I mean, I totally agree with that. But in the 20s, that's too young. I mean, I got
Right.
married in my 20s. It was early, you know, so you're still learning yourself. Like that's crazy.
Right.
I
To
don't think
expect
we
that type of put that
I don't
type of
think we
pressure on a 20-year-old.
but I don't think we promote
Right.
enough mental health and counseling and shit in our community to advise people to do what y'all are saying though. To just fuck around because just think about it. By the time a motherfucker 35, 40, whatever and ready to settle down, now they looking for somebody to build with or whatever, and all these people have trauma, past relationship bullshit, all that different. So it's gonna be even harder for them to look for what they wanted in their 20s now that they're 40 because everybody's fucking damaged.
But you shouldn't expect the
Not
same
really
thing.
though, because I mean you have to
Right.
experience life. You got to go through life,
I know, but I
Right.
said that's what I started out by saying we
you
don't
know. I mean,
promote
I think it's better to
counseling.
wait till you're older.
I, you
Right.
can say wait till you're older, but I'm
I
saying,
think
but
we
by the
do
time,
now.
huh? What you say?
I think at this time people I think mental health is more prevalent now to where people are also going
Ooh.
to counseling and all that stuff. So I
I
think at this era,
say that Cookie, can
mental
you
health
stop?
is important
Ooh,
and being
Cookie, you
scared of.
are robotic.
Yeah, you roboting
Just
Cookie.
breaking up.
Cutting
Yeah,
Oh,
you
am
in.
I?
going
Oh,
through
my
a
bad.
bad area.
Can y'all hear me now?
No, you good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You good right now.
Mhm.
Can you hear?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying I think right now counseling and mental health is important, and I think that's on the forefront with a lot of people nowadays versus back then. You know, but I mean, I would advise someone in their 20s to just chill, man. Chill, have fun, learn
Right.
yourself, get your shit
Right.
together. You
So
know,
deep. A
Ooh,
good
can I
point.
read for
Can I
the
clear up
group?
on?
Can I read for the group,
Okay, go
Timotheus?
ahead. Okay, raise your hand, sweetie. You gotta raise your. No, no.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm calling on Morphine. Morphine, would you please raise?
Can I read for the group? Okay.
go, go ahead.
All right. So it says emotional intelligence, otherwise known as emotional quotient.
Quotient. Quotient.
quotient,
Quotient.
quotient,
Mm, what the
quotient,
fuck is?
How you gonna volunteer to read
quotient.
and then
Shut up! Shut
two
up!
letters
They
in?
don't know
Shut
how to
up,
read it.
bitch.
Sound it out,
Because
baby.
it's
Say
like
it phonetically,
Come
baby.
on,
Say it
Keisha.
phonetically, baby.
or
Say it
Come on,
phonetically.
Keisha. Quotient.
y'all.
Take your time.
Quotient and the ability to understand and use and manage your own emotion in positive ways or relative to stress.
To relieve.
Communicate. It doesn't say it says to
It says
relieve
to
stress
relieve
and
stress.
communicate effectively. Okay, I said I was reading fast. You want to read it, Cookie? Let
From the
Cookie
top,
read
baby.
it.
From
Slow
the top.
down,
Take it from
sis.
the top.
Try
Take it from the top.
Take it from
Come
the
on,
top.
Cookie. You read it
Try it
from
again. Let's take it from the
you
top.
want to read it. You take it from the top, yeah, Cookie. Like since you want to
You
read
clearly,
it,
trying to
you
be
I
clearly,
Keisha's
mean,
pet.
fuck
clearly this
that. I
needs to be
was,
read.
but you fucked it
Clearly,
up for me. So
clearly,
Cookie,
clearly, this needs to
Cookie
be
got it.
read by a male. So, emotional intelligence, otherwise known as emotional quotient or EQ, is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others. Scroll up, Tim.
Yeah, I can't see the
Uh,
rest of that.
that's the y'all can't see the bottom.
And you
So
better not
empathize
fuck
with
up or
others,
I'm a
overcome
fuck with you.
challenges, and defuse conflicts. That's the last
There
line.
we go. See how when the
Okay.
men got together and said that we read that shit and got it over with.
Shut up.
Thank you.
So where we what are,
All right.
why are we
The reason
reading that?
the reason I brung that up is because of what Dee said. Like if we're gonna have a conversation and promote that the youngsters need to go out there and live life and bust it open and all of that, then they have to have this lesson of emotional intelligence has to be taught to them in
Mm-hmm.
order for them
Mm-hmm.
to grow forward in life and not be bitter and scorn and have one bad experience and from that point forward, all these niggas ain't shit, all these bitches is hoes, that type of mentality.
Right.
And
Right.
But doesn't
So
that
can I
doesn't
raise
that
my
go
hand and
hand in
ask
hand?
another question? What is the opposite of that? Say a woman never goes through any of these things. She never experienced emotional stress, or she never had to empathize with being poor or being without, or that dude losing his job. What is it when a woman doesn't have those type of abilities to deal with those type of stress because she's never been through none of that shit before in a relationship?
That's called
That's a good question.
Context
arrested.
of a
That's called
you
arrested
you
development. That is arrested development. That is
no
an
that I don't even understand what she's. I don't.
Me neither. I'm trying to
I
figure out
don't even
what they mean
understand
a
what
woman
she's
though.
asking.
She was asking. She correct me if I'm wrong, Keisha. What I heard her say was basically, what is it called when when a woman never goes through all of those things, never has those issues, never interacts with a person and all of that? It's arrested development. If she's never had a relationship and all of that, and she get to be 30 and 40 years
No,
old, and she
no.
just
What
want
happened if she just never had her heart
a bad
broken? What
experience,
happened if
oh,
she never had bad experiences? She never went through any type of stress in relationship, any type of anxiety in relationships. What happened? Everything was like it was was go
that's
lucky
called
because she really
that's
never
you said it. That's
experienced
luck.
That's
that
You
called
said
type
it. That's luck.
lucky. Shit.
of
Yeah,
stress.
yeah.
That's called
Where do that
lucky.
exist at?
That's called
And how do
lucky.
that look?
I can't say where it
It's
exists at.
called. It's also called a unicorn.
A unicorn.
That's some
A
Mm-hmm.
woman that
magical
never
shit.
experienced all this stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah,
Dang,
because
Malcolm
a
over
lot
here
of
hot
a
now.
lot of
Actually,
our
I would
traumas.
call that woman a 13-year-old girl. That's what I would call
That's
her.
it. No, but I'm glad you said that, Parker. I was about to say a lot of our trauma started when we were children. That shit ain't start when we started dating. We was already had the trauma built in us, and it just spilled over into our dating lives.
I'm happy you said that as well. Remember, you said that when we have this while we're continuing this conversation. A lot of the
Oh, I
trauma that
remember.
we dealt with and deal with as adults was started as a child versus in relationships and how we dealing with each other now in relationships.
How
Facts.
did
So
y'all
that's why I was
segue into trauma? Hold up, stop. How did y'all segue into trauma? Because this
because
ain't
we were
about
talking.
the conversation. Ain't about
We,
trauma.
we,
The
We about to pull
conversation.
it back.
because we're talking
Relax.
about emotional intelligence and
Relax.
oh,
I'm trying to figure out how did
we
y'all
Yo,
do that.
we
hold on.
about to
you
pull
know
it
what?
back. We
You must
hold on. We
you
about to,
must have
because we were
stepped
talking
away
about
from the joy.
so because you were talking about young people dating and not being in monogamous situations because they should be able to live life. So then I said that they don't we don't practice or talk about um, trauma and the emotional scarring, all that shit. Then Tim brings up emotional intelligence. So
Yeah,
that's how that shit came about. But it was all
Because if
tied in.
young people are, if the people with trauma are the people that have unrealistic expectations about relationships. Those are the people that have trauma in the scope of relationship. It's the bitch that, excuse me, it's the female that think her pussy is golden and a man's supposed to do everything in the world, make the sun shine to get a piece of it. It's the man that think that when he get a piece of
So,
pussy, he owns it for the rest of his life. The people that have the fucked up views about relationship, or the people that have trauma with relationship, or the people that have unhealthy expectations. The person
I
that
can't.
goes out there and has a
Okay.
healthy childhood, and I don't mean you just fucking like a jackrabbit. I don't mean I mean the person that has a healthy relationship. Like, I'm not putting unnecessary expectations on being somebody's husband or having a wife. I'm enjoying a female's company. I'm not going to have trauma. How the fuck am I going to have trauma? I don't
I
have
see.
expectations to be traumatized. It's the person that has the unrealistic and the unhealthy expectations. That's the person that gets traumatized.
Well, that goes to how
That's
you
in
were
a
raised up,
relationship.
though.
Yeah.
If the expectation is for you to be in a monogamous, if I have parents who's been in a monogamous relationship, and then my relatives, everyone that I know, it preaches monogamy, then that's typically the way I'm going to view how relationships are supposed to go until I'm introduced to something else, right?
I mean, if that's the environment that you were raised in, yeah, and that means that you, unfortunately, that means unless you damn near getting a bride picked for you, you're raised in a very toxic environment when it comes to relationships, because the world don't move like that. It never really has. It just hasn't. If you got a 20-year-old son, no, better yet, a 20-year-old daughter, not a son, a 20-year-old daughter. I'm pretty sure she gonna be a little hot in the ass. She want to experience the world. If she leaves to go to college, she's going to experience a level of promiscuity. She's going to experience a level of dealing with different men.
No,
A
I
level
mean I
not
agree.
like
I
him,
just believe that
not like him.
You roboting Mugabe.
you're
You
breaking up,
roboting.
Mudawa.
Breaking up and roboting. But yeah,
But
but what he's saying is
Yeah,
true though. It's like, if you still breaking up. But what he's saying
all
is
right.
absolutely
How
true. If
about
you got to, you still breaking
you're
up.
still breaking up. We can hear it before you even
all right?
talk.
It sounds like somebody eating chips.
Sound like the
Right.
ancestors don't want to
It
hear that
sound like
shit.
he said sound like your ancestors. Listen, I'm gonna say this. Muriwa, are you saying that I'm gonna say, and shout out to Brody, that that a lot of guys got the Madonna whore complex when it comes down to uh being young and the human experience of being young?
What is that
Mugabe,
noise?
your sound is horrible. Try to leave
And
and
as
come back.
far as what is that?
You
Is
know what? I
somebody
think it's me.
sleeping?
Your sound is horrible,
The
Mugabe.
fuck
Could
is
you
that?
try to leave and come back?
No,
It sounds like
Yeah,
Mugabe's
someone's
fine.
chewing on some
All right,
chips
I
or
Other
some
will.
guy.
shit.
Yeah, as soon as
It's
he left,
fine.
the
It's
sound.
fine now. It's fine. It's
How's
Yeah,
my
as soon
fine.
as,
audio
It was
now?
the other guy.
All right.
Your audio is fine.
Yeah. All right.
Please, I asked the
Yeah.
question.
All right. What I'm
I would like
saying
this
is,
question to be answered.
what I'm saying is, yes, a lot of men
no, you roboting.
have
What's
aspects.
burning?
A robot again.
Yeah.
hmm
A
Yeah,
lot
you
of
was for
men
a second, but
is robot again.
Leave
Yeah.
McDonald's and go to
How about
Wendy's, bro.
now?
I heard that shit top notch.
Try to leave and come back. Try to leave and come back, Medina.
hey, yeah.
All right, let me go out and come back in.
Yeah, stupid.
You using that cheap ass McDonald's Wi-Fi in the parking lot?
Nah, but I agree with what he's saying. But I'm saying, but
I'm on my laptop. I don't got no problems.
most of us
What's
grew up
that,
in
E?
monogamous households. So that's the expectation that we have, is because that's how we came up. We grew up in a society that's taught us that monogamous is the way to go.
Yeah, I grew up in a monogamous household.
Yeah, but what if you grew up where your mama was she's just like the top, and you know she was a
It's,
thought. You have so
it's the
many
thing
uncles
though.
and cousins.
Right. I was gonna get to that too, Paul. But the thing is a lot of us grew up in these households that we thought were monogamous. You know what I mean? We thought they was monogamous, but you didn't know that daddy was cheating. You didn't know mama was cheating and all of that. So
That's true. That's true. But that's where the trauma shit. That's part of the trauma, right? Because you don't understand why mom and dad are fighting, why they're arguing, why one of them decides to leave and not come back for a week and shit like that, right? But it's because they're not actually being, one of them, or both of them is not adhering to their monogamous relationship.
they're
But you don't understand that shit as a child. All you know is these two are supposed to be together. What the fuck is going on? Why they arguing? Why they fighting? Why they doing
Mhm.
whatever? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Hmm. In
let's
which
see.
case,
I agree.
in which case, would the child doing that?
You
You,
robot.
you
You
sound
know,
like a
right now,
robot, Paul. You sound like a
Damn.
robot.
y'all must be sharing internet.
They on the same
What
Wi-Fi.
about?
Yeah.
Am I still
Medina,
robotic?
finish what you were saying.
Right. Somebody refresh my memory. I don't remember what I left off talking about.
We're
Yeah,
talking about trauma,
Oh,
and you was
trauma.
talking
Right.
about yeah.
Right. I think that the people that have the most trauma as it relates to relationships are the people that had unrealistic expectations. If if a woman, I'm speaking from a man's perspective, and maybe women can just flip this on the other side of the coin. A woman is not my possession. I don't own her. I don't own her body. I don't own her mind. I don't own nothing about her. Like I would hope, I would hope that she, behaves in a certain manner, but she's not obligated to behave in a certain manner. And it
Mhm.
also doesn't make her less of a woman if she doesn't behave in a certain manner, with a few exceptions. My hell knows when it comes to promiscuity is, friends, family, and enemies. Don't fuck none of my friends, don't fuck none of my family, and don't fuck my enemies. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm. Mhm.
that aside from that, I don't have any expectations on I think that we put way too much value as men, we put way too much value on the sexual aspect of a woman. And in my opinion, if you name the top 5 qualities of a woman, her being monogamous to you is not going to be in the top 5. But I guarantee you, the first thing you're going to say is her being loyal to you. Loyalty and monogamy are not synonymous. I'm going to say this
No,
again.
no.
Loyalty and monogamy are not synonymous. This is the
Agreed.
this is the part where we get confused in today's
Mhm.
society. We think because this person is giving me their body that they are obligated to be loyal to me. No, they're not. You want loyalty first. I don't even
Mhm.
want love first. I want loyalty first. If I want you
Right.
to understand that I'm a person that you can trust on several fucking levels. Now, once I get that, everything else is gonna be easy. But
Right.
niggas is running around out here trying to fuck a broad into submission and mad because her pussy got a brain of its own. Like it's like
Right.
ridiculous, man. We behaving like this is 1300 and something, and you could just go snatch up a fair maiden and throw her in the dungeon, and she can't go nowhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then we wonder why we had these as men, we wonder why we had these horrible relationships. We having conversations about body count as grown men. How the fuck is a 40-year-old something man concerned about a woman's body count? Just
Thank
basic,
you.
just basic motherfucking math.
Thank you.
If she's been sexually active since 20,
At
if
least
she
20
had
years.
it's 20 years later. Come on,
Right.
man. Two a
Facts.
I don't get it
year.
either.
2 a year, that's 40. Two a
Right.
year, that's
Why
40.
why do
If
you
she
even
been
give a
sick,
fuck?
Even
why do
one,
you
even
even
one,
give a fuck?
even
Like
one a year
what?
would be
Right,
20.
like what number? What
Right.
number is gonna be too many? What
Yeah, if
number are
you
you gonna say? Ooh,
Right.
bitch, that was 39. You got lucky. If you would have got the 40,
Right.
I wouldn't be fucking with you.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, come on,
Moody,
And
but
and
man.
most
even
of the
with that
time,
Mediwa, even with that Mediwa, you ain't gonna fuck with me, but somebody else will. So it don't even
right.
matter.
But most of the time, when you ask niggas what's the number that will satisfy
Right.
them, they can't tell you, bro. They cannot tell
They
you the
can't
number
answer
that
that
will
shit.
satisfy them.
Right.
You ask
That's
the nigga
it.
how
I
many is
love
too
it.
many.
I love it.
You know what a lot is.
What
You
number
know
is
what a lot. You know what a lot is. That's what they say. Stop acting
you know
crazy.
what
Right.
a
You know.
lot is?
Yeah.
You know what a lot
Well,
is.
I think the thing is, I think most men want women who haven't had any prior fucking relationship prior to them. I mean, ideally, but that's just
Not
not
sexually.
realistic. So why do people care about a body count? It doesn't matter.
Shit
If I can
crazy.
have it my way, I want a sexually experienced woman, right? Somebody who's had plenty of sex without the emotional shit trauma.
Right.
I don't care how much.
Man,
So niggas,
the
it ain't
the
about. So
worst thing you
it,
want to work up to, the worst thing you want to wake up to is a good girl that wake up this morning and decide she want to go through a whole phase and you with her. You thought you had a good one. Now all of a sudden she got a whole phase she want to get out of her
right,
system.
right.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
These
I
niggas is
want.
crazy. Like as men, as black men, like we kind of like goofy on that shit. Like that shit is like a concept of what makes a woman a good woman is like fucking ridiculous, man. Like nigga,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I literally don't. Of course, okay, having some domestic skills, you know, I get that part. You know, being a good you should be looking for certain other things. Is she a good person? How does she treat people that can't do nothing for her? Like, how does she treat
Mm-hmm.
perfect strangers? Is she good with money? Because if this gonna be your woman, this is gonna be where your money goes. Is she good with money?
Mm-hmm.
Does she think about the future? How is she with children? If she already has previous children before you got with her, pay attention to how she treats her kids. Because
Mm-hmm.
eventually, if you have a baby by her, your kid gonna be getting treated like that. What
Right.
is her? How does she handle adversity? Does she crumble under pressure? Does she take it
Mm-hmm.
like a regular
This is
person
this
and
what
Mm-hmm.
and,
on
and
it
roll with the
tonight.
punches? Like
That's
it's
basically what
like
I was saying,
it's like
Moody.
so
Like if
many.
a woman never took, if she never been through anything in a relationship, she's never been through any hardships in a relationship, and men are expecting a woman that is basically unhinged in a relationship, then what do you think she's going to act like, or how she's going to act like when it's time to face adversity in your relationship? You know,
Absolutely,
like, why
absolutely.
the fuck would you want to? I'm sorry to cuss, but why would you want to be the first man she experienced that shit with, so she can make all her mistakes and your ass can be hurt? You think she
Then
gonna be
you wonder
perfect
why
about
she
that?
tripping. Then you
Right.
wonder why
Mm-hmm.
she tripping.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
Yeah.
don't get it, man. I don't. But I think that level comes with you have to deal with adversity as a man as well, and you be like, hey, man, I can't have the same unrealistic expectations that a 25-year-old man has for women. I just can't.
Right.
I can't do that. And a lot of us guys, we go into our 30s and 40s and sometimes even to our 50s, and we still have these way out expectations about what a woman is and what a woman does and what a woman should be, and it
Right.
just don't make sense. You know, give her some fucking breathing room. But on that, I'm gonna go on mute because I know I've been talking way too doggone much.
Nah,
I
but
would
you
say,
spitting.
I would
You
say
spitting.
I've never had that conversation. Ain't no man ever been like, what's your body count? Like, I think that's weird. I can't even
Like,
picture
I never had
having a
that conversation
conversation like
either.
that on the damn date. That's just ridiculous. I think I would walk away. I mean, because that's corny. It's corny to me. You know what I'm saying? We're all fucking adults. Like, we all know we've been fucking somewhere. Like, why we were, you know what I'm saying? So, but like Dee said earlier, sexual history is important. But I never ever had that conversation. So it's just it's baffling to me. But I think it is a certain type of man that Medea was talking about because that's just not really normal in a sense.
That's what I said earlier. It's
I think
a
it's more. I
particular
think
individual that cares about body count. I don't think
Right.
the average motherfucker is walking around this bitch questioning motherfuckers about their body count. It's a
Right.
particular motherfucker that's
I
like,
think that's for
I gotta
younger
know.
folks. That it has to be with the younger generation that sit around and think about these topics. Because if you're like
No,
20,
it
21,
be older
if
dudes
you're eight,
too.
if you're either, I would say from 18 to 25, and you having these conversations, that makes total sense about what that person's body count. But asking a 35, 40-year-old woman what's her body count, and then you
Yeah.
want her to be a freak when y'all actually have sex and be so totally experienced, because we seen posts out there, we see things on social media where it's like basically coming at or dissing a woman's sexuality, meaning how she has sex in bed. Like, she 40 years
Hmm.
old, she don't do this, or she's 30 years old, she don't do that, you know. So either you want an experienced woman or you don't, or it's a little bit of both, which is okay to
Hmm.
want a little bit of both. I want a little bit of you actually knowing what you want as a woman sexually, without you, having a resume of fucking the whole neighborhood, you know. Like, I don't want to
That's what
walk
I
down
told
your
you.
neighborhood
and you
I
fuck
want to
that nigga when he
experience.
and that dude still there. That's I think that's the big cat. When you walk down the
Be
shorty
like, hey
block
man,
and
did she suck your balls like this, man? You know?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
man.
leaving when they come up with these type of scenarios. It's like, yo, shorty like gotta be like in her 30s, right? So she going back to her old neighborhood. No niggas still there. I think that's the big like that's the big smack in the face to a man. Like, not only did you fuck a bum, you fuck a bum that's here 10 years later. Like for me to walk into.
Mhm.
Like so,
Yeah,
I can't
life is
practice on
life.
that.
I want me an experienced, healed woman. That's what I want. Somebody that's experienced with the shits, knows everything, but they all got no whole bunch of emotional trauma. That's what I want. I can't. I can't take no. Don't send no versions my way. I can't deal
But
with
I
it.
think the opposite end of that, the flip side of that, because we've been speaking about, these delusional ass men. I think also there's a lot of delusional ass women that
Hmm.
automatically assume because he fucking with you that he ain't supposed to be sexually attracted to no other woman ever. Like
Right.
you're supposed to be the apple of his eye to the day he die. You know what I mean? I think that's extremely fucking delusional thoughts from a woman. He's supposed to
Hmm.
you supposed to be able to get fat and he ain't tripping. You supposed to be able to be stingy with the pussy and he ain't tripping. You supposed to be able to not be taking care of your, and I'm using my air quotes, your duties as a woman and he ain't tripping. I think that that's extremely fucked, extremely uh horrible way to deal in a relationship. And there's a lot of men that's going through that. There's a lot of men that have sexless marriages because they dealing with a woman that's holding the pussy hostage.
Right.
There's a lot of men that ain't sexually attracted to their woman no more, but they bought the cow,
Hmm.
so they got to drink this milk for the rest of their
Right.
fucking life.
Right.
So it goes both ways. You feel what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
what happens when she goes through menopause? What happens when her thyroid is tripping and it's throwing off her sexual desires? You know what I mean? What happens when she's going through just regular life, whatever, and she ain't feeling sexually, but you're expected for your sexual desire as a man to coincide with hers all the time. And I think that's
Right.
unfair. I
I
think that's
think.
completely unfair. And I think
I
I
that's
agree.
think
what,
I
that comes
agree.
from a love thing, though.
I, I agree.
I think that comes from how people act in love is different than the regular shit, right? Because love makes you see a person different than sometimes what the reality could be, right? If you head over heels over a person, they shit don't stink, right? But once that shit wears off and then now you able to actually see some shit, then that's when you're like, damn, this motherfucker done gained 30 pounds. This motherfucker can't cook worth a damn. This motherfucker don't do this,
Hmm.
don't do that, right? Because now you don't love them as much. No, before you was all with it. Everything they did, everything, you was all gung ho. Now that your eyes are open, so to say, you got a different outlook on it.
right. And she could be the same person. You're not in that pussy cloud, that original pussy cloud of
I don't think it's pussy. That's what I'm saying. I think it's the chemical imbalance of love that does it. I don't think it's the pussy itself. I think if you have
okay.
deep feelings for a motherfucker, like where you're losing yourself, where you're complete, like this person is damn near your god, right? Then of course they shit don't stink. You know what I'm
But
saying? But once you come
how do
down.
you get to that point though? I mean,
I don't
I'm serious.
different.
How
I don't know. Different people can get to that point for different reasons. I don't know what's
okay.
required for each individual. I'm just saying that I think that's where that shit comes from. Is it's the imbalance because when you view somebody in a certain light, right, everything is okay. It's until you look at them different. When you put if I can take off my eyes and put on Madiwa's eyes and look at this woman, now I see her completely different. this
Right,
shit ain't adding up. I gotta move the fuck around. You see what I'm saying?
right, right.
But would it,
Yeah.
would it be that at some point either the man or the woman would feel like sex is a chore because they've been together so long?
It
Yeah,
could. It
that
could.
could happen.
I've heard that before. Just say they feel like sex is a choice. Like I gotta fuck you because I'm with you type shit.
Right. And I think that can build resentment.
Yeah.
But
Especially
at
if
the
you're
same
not attracted
time,
to the person.
Now,
right.
what you guys are talking about now are going into that the concept of the whole monogamy thing, like the system of marriage it says, well, since this is the agreement and the contract that we made, so this is my obligation to you. And it
Mhm.
isn't encouraged for people to get divorced. And we a lot of us are in our 40s or 35 and older for the most part on the call. We've heard the cliche, like, this ain't a reason to get divorced, or that ain't a reason to get divorced. Now you got to learn to make it work and all of that.
Mhm.
And a lot of that is what leads to these toxic relationships. And these kids grow up and they see these toxic relationships and they believe that that's normal. They believe that this is what love is because this is what I saw my mom and my daddy
Right.
do. So this
That's
is
that
what
old school toxic shit.
right. So this is what I'm going to look for. My daddy was like this and this, that, and the other, but my daddy did take care of the house. We never was
Mhm.
home. We never were hungry. The lights was always on. So it's
Mhm.
so promiscuity and monogamy get blended in that way when you look at it from a social construct, from that contract that we force upon ourselves, that
Mhm.
that this is what we're supposed to do because this is what we were told to do,
Right.
rather than the history of it, where the whole concept of marriage came in, was under the hopes, fingers crossed, that these children are my children. That was the whole point of what marriage was really about, from
Mhm.
what I studied. And I land the plane.
Whew. Um, I think all this plays a part in when you're talking about monogamy in the relationships. When you're talking about as far as who is how the relationship maintains itself sexually, the expectations of what a husband might have for his wife sexually. One may, on one hand, a guy may want a woman that is less experienced for his own insecurity
Mhm.
purposes. Then on the other hand, another guy might not care at all what her experience is outside of himself. Meaning that shit's, I don't care about your past. Your past stopped when I started with you, and as long as it doesn't interfere in our relationship, it's a non-factor. So you got those two different flip sides of that coin, but it's still the same coin nonetheless.
To,
And I land
to
my plane.
to be honest though, we shame the people who be with the natural promiscuous shit and go along. Like when if it's a man who's dealing with a woman that he knows has multiple partners or whatever, then he's called a simp, a beta male, whatever. If it's a woman, then she's called stupid, dumb. Why are you tolerating this or whatever? So we're kind of responsible for that shit too because we push the monogamous culture upon everybody because we don't understand their individual relationships or what they got going on. We push that shit.
Right. And then the people that operate within their natural promiscuous, like swingers and stuff like that, we view them as, outside the
Right.
norm. We see them as like outside the norm. Like, these people are weird. Like, it couldn't be me. I couldn't do it. You better than me, that other type of stuff.
Mhm. So so Moody, why you can't call no more niggas simps and beta male, none of that shit, because they just they got real life expectations. They understand that pussy ain't theirs.
Yeah.
They don't own it, so it's just their turn when it's their turn.
Right. Moody Wah has single-handedly expanded the advocacy. The advocacy is over.
Yeah,
He,
yeah,
he, he just the advocacy
That shit's
himself.
wrong
yeah,
in so many
yeah.
ways.
It's their time when it's their turn.
Ain't no more pandas. That's all. That's done. And it's all because of
Yeah,
movie.
Mhm.
Take a bow, Moody Wild. You didn't put on your K. You didn't put on your panda suit, bro.
I don't know how y'all came to that conclusion. Yeah, I
I
mean,
just said it. You didn't hear what I
I,
said?
I run it back. I heard it, but
I
maybe
said
my
I
comprehension
said,
level is
I
low.
said, we push the monogamous culture when we make fun of people who are participating in promiscuous activities. Whether you call a man a simp because he's dealing with a woman, or you're a beta male because he's dealing with a woman who's sleeping with multiple men, uh, doing she go does whatever the hell she wants, or the woman who's dealing with the man who's sleeping with multiple women, do whatever the fuck he want. We call those women dumb, or why are you tolerating this? Why are you with him? All that shit. We do that.
Well, okay, I understand.
You may not
Those
personally, but I'm saying I'm talking about as a society.
Well, that means society is wrong as a motherfucker. That means society don't. It's more qualities to a human being than just the sexual aspect of the human being. Then the sooner we get
Right.
that, the better. It's like the 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 sex is just fucking sex, man. It's not. It's just sex. It's like
So,
what we keep
Where
over.
you been when I've been trying to explain this to you niggas though? When
No,
I
bro. No,
No,
you
no,
don't.
no, stop, nah, for real, cause you kind of get into when I be saying that it's more, cause y'all ask me why I've had sex, the way I've had sex, why I do, and I always say it is because it's just sex. It don't mean shit. I care more about building relationships with certain motherfuckers,
But
right?
but
And motherfuckers
when
be
you say that you say it from a real panda bear perspective. You say,
no,
well,
no,
I
nigga,
care about her feelings.
see
I
what
want
I'm
to know
saying?
how
No.
This
I want to
nigga
know
is a
how she
fucking
I want to know how
hypocrite.
she
No.
feels at
This
3 in the
nigga's a
Oh
morning
fucking
when she got to
hypocrite.
go pee. I want to
How
know.
am I been? Listen,
I want to lay my head on her chest and hear her heartbeat when she's taking a dump.
no, what
And
I'm
then
saying is that
You are
no.
so
In real life,
retarded, Negro.
Moody Why, in real life, I don't give a damn about a woman's sexual, what she got going on. I care about how my dealings are with her, right? How her dealings are with someone else don't really concern me unless it's taken away from what I'm getting from her. You see what I'm saying? Other than that, I don't really fucking give a damn. I've always stood on that.
Sound like
but
you
you've
get a little
always
jealous
said
from time to time, nigga.
Hmm?
from me knowing you, D, you've always taken the emotional route for explaining being in a relationship. From that's what I've
Because
always heard.
that's what I'm because of what you just said. There's more to women than just sex. So the reason why, how I was introduced with sex is I will never put it on a pedestal like how a lot of motherfuckers put sex on a pedestal, right? Sex is just sex to me, right? Now, sex with someone that I care about is fucking astronomical. It's amazing. You feel what I'm saying? But regular sex, if it ain't nobody, it's just sex, right? I don't need sex to
So
operate. I don't need it to
you are saying what I think you're saying, and you're
what?
not saying nowhere near what I'm saying. You're
What you
not saying
mean?
we're not saying the same thing, D. We're not saying the same thing at all. You're saying that you're looking for this deep, intrinsic emotional connection. That's what you
No,
said.
I'm saying that is more to. I'm saying that I care because I care about more than sex, right? But I don't place my value in the woman on her sexual nature or her
I get
sexual
that part.
history.
I get that part about it.
Okay,
So what is the important thing?
my my relationship with that woman,
Okay,
whatever we are building.
your emotional connection to her, right?
Yeah, if you, I mean, if you want to,
Right.
for lack of better
That's
terms,
where
you want to do that.
yeah, that your emotional connection to her. For me,
How is that
it's a
different from what you're saying though? You
for
saying don't
me
put,
for
so you
me,
don't want to
brother.
put nothing in a woman. Sex or emotional. You just saying a woman is a woman. Fuck her, be with her, do
You
whatever. Just don't put no
completely
stock into that motherfucker.
you're completely mischaracterizing what I'm
That's what,
saying, bro.
because if it's not sex and it's emotional, then what's the problem? If it's emotional, and I don't understand what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. You
I
said I said I don't put stock into sex. I put stock into the actual relationship, the bond that we have, what
and
we're building together.
I completely get what you're saying. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there has to be a logical connection to this person. There has to be my emotions can lead me astray. My emotions can be dead motherfucking wrong. My emotions could I could get pussy whipped. I could like the way the head was. I could be infatuated with how she looked. She could be just pretty as fuck to me. My emotional attachment to a woman can lead me the fuck astray. She can tell me the kind words to just feed my ego, have me fucked up out here because I'm on some emotional shit. Now, am I logically attracted to this person? Does my logic, does the logical aspect of me say, hey, this person is dope? Not the feelings.
Yeah, but you spoke on that when you talk about loyalty. Like logically, if a person is loyal to me, why the fuck when I want them to be with that? You know what I'm saying? Like fuck what this motherfucker is dating several niggas, but she spends a lot of time with me. She deals with me on whatever level, whatever. That's at some type of
Hold on,
loyalty,
guys.
right?
All right.
That's a logical response, whether it be emotional or whatever. It's obviously some emotion is going to be attached because we're emotional beings, but that's
Hey, true
logical.
that.
I'm fucking with
But you,
somebody who fucks
you
with me.
I understood. But yes, there's emotion involved.
Mhm,
Absolutely. With the logical decision to be with someone, there's emotion involved. With the
mhm.
emotional decision to fuck with someone, there's an element of logic involved. But they're always not even close to the same level, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that yeah, there's gonna be elements of both. But one usually for most people is gonna way overpower the other. You would hope there's a balance, but it's usually not. It's just the way it is, bro. And I mean, if you want to move in a manner that's gonna be conducive, where you ain't wasting a whole lot of your time or just bullshitting around. For me, logic logic makes more sense. For some people, the emotional aspect makes more sense. I get it. They want that warm and fuzzy feeling, that warm that shit that that make you get the butterflies. Some people want that shit.
Nah,
I mean,
nah,
if
but
you
you
want
can
the
get. That's why I
butterfly, ain't
say
nothing
you can
wrong with
get.
the
That's why I say
butterfly,
you can
D.
get both.
Oh,
That's why I say because I'm an emotional being, right? I'm an emotional man,
Obviously,
right? So
obviously.
no, but listen what I'm saying. But logically, like I said, I fuck with. I ain't gonna say I go after what I want. I don't just fuck with just the women who fuck with me. But in me going after what I want, right? I'm not gonna continue to pursue having a connection with someone that I don't have a connection with. You see what I'm saying? Whether it be friends, the romantic, whatever the fuck what it is. If I'm bonding with somebody, I'm bonding with somebody. You see what I'm saying?
right.
You're trying to make it seem like that. So that's a logical. That's logical. Whether I'm emotional or not, it makes sense for me to fuck with people who got my best interests at heart.
So wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You
I
can,
want and
and I'm
I want
talking.
to let some other people jump in too, but go ahead and land your plane,
Yeah,
Mugambi.
I'm gonna say this last thing, and then I'm gonna let D go or whoever want to go. I understand exactly what you're saying, D, and there's a
Mhm,
lot of people that operate like that, and then there's
mhm.
some people that operate like, okay, I can in business, in my association life, you can lightweight not like a person, but no, logically you have to fuck with this person. You dig what I'm saying? Like you can in business, you can say, hey man, this motherfucker is a whole racist right here. I really wish I didn't have to deal with this motherfucker, but because of this business transaction I'm trying to do, logically, this is what I need to do. And everybody can't make that separation. I get it, but sometimes you got to be able to do that as well, D. That's all, and I
I
land
get
the
what you're
plane.
saying now. That's a little hard to do with relationship because I'm not fucking with no chick that I don't like. Bro. Like
That
I'm not.
that's not what I'm not saying. No, no, I get it. That we'll talk about that shit later, though,
all
D.
right, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
I think if you take it into consideration, like she might have some good qualities and then she might have some bad qualities about her. And those
That's
bad
everybody.
qualities really irk you, but you gotta say, you think to yourself, well, can I deal with that? Cause I
Right.
really like this about her, but this shit right here gets on my
That's what I'm
fucking
saying.
nerve.
When you lay the emotions down, when I get out of my feelings, right, and I look and I think logically about the situation that I'm in, right, I can appreciate the woman that I have in my life because I'm not. It's not. She's really fucking me, right? But yeah, I'm not gonna go into that like, oh, this woman is pretty. She got a lot of money or whatever, but she gets on my nerves all the time. I'm not fucking with that.
Let me do this.
You
Let
know,
me do this real quick. Hold on, y'all. Let me do this. Let me put my cape on real quick. Put my
Oh,
cape
here it
on.
comes.
Oh
Here comes
shit! Here
Satan.
come your leader. Here come your fearless
Here
leader,
comes your
DJ.
fearless leader.
This
Dun, dun,
motherfucker
I'm
right
just
there.
saying.
dun, dun, dun,
Ooh.
Let me.
dun, dun.
I want to let some of the ladies talk because you know the men been kind of monopolizing the conversation for a while. So, ladies, please. We got
Shut the
Alicia
fuck
has
up and
joined.
listen
Tim,
sometime.
Tim,
I
Alicia
mean,
has joined.
Tim. What
I
material is
I've
that cape
agreed
made
with
of, nigga?
Makila. I've agreed
It's
with
beautiful.
D.
It's velvet. You know what I'm
Paul
saying?
goes in and out, so I mean, I haven't really, And Jonelle, whatever his name, he's been quiet. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for the most part, we all pretty much agree on
Right.
the topic and stuff like that. There's realistic stuff and then there's just unrealistic expectations, like when Dee was said, that a lot of people put on each other, and it's not cool because you're
But,
talking about
but see,
certain
that's the
age
thing though,
brackets that,
because
huh?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. To cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying you're talking about certain age brackets that have to be factored in to these kind of conversations. You
But
know,
see
Absolutely.
but that's the thing though. Is like
Right,
let's not have an intellectual fallacy here. Nobody here, if they had a 16-year-old, 17-year-old daughter, is gonna say go out there and bust it open and live life and get experience. That's
that's
I
Some
don't know
key
true.
nobody who
words
teaches their
and
children.
not
I
them
don't know
same
no one who
words, but
teaches their
yeah.
children that.
But
No,
but
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 that's
I
I
what.
don't
think
know
So
what
that's
nobody
we're
that
what
that's
teaches
we're
what.
trying to address.
children that either. I don't know where y'all got that from.
No,
I
no,
don't know that
y'all
either.
missed his point. Y'all
The
stop.
point,
Y'all missed his point. What he was trying to
right?
say was, y'all are saying that these young folk should go out there and experience life and be promiscuous and not get into monogamy. But that's not what we're going to teach our children. That's what he's saying.
Right,
right.
right. That's what it sounds like.
But I don't even think the promiscuity is even in the conversation when you're telling your children, hey,
Right.
get out there and do your thing, get your career going, get your education, have fun. Having fun don't always mean fucking.
Right.
Like there's just so many things to experience in life than having sex. So why would a parent even have a discussion about promiscuity like that? That doesn't even make sense. But
Because
again,
it would be a
to be
fallacy to believe
married,
that
to
they're
be
not gonna
married in their 20s like I was in my early 20s, I mean that did me a disservice and him because we're
Absolutely.
too young.
but that's the point that I'm
You
making.
know,
That we teaching these young girls and young boys, the end. Well, once upon a
They're
time, I don't think
teaching the girls that, but they're not
well,
teaching the boys that.
once upon a time, that's why I corrected myself. Like once upon a time, because the society we live in is different now. But once upon a time, it was the whole, even with boys, is like you go out there and get you a job so you can take care of your family. You take care of your
Uh-huh.
kids. But that was once upon a time. But now it isn't that way now. The cliche that I hear the most now is from women is that marriage is not the end goal no more. So it's like like they say,
It's not.
but it's
But
like
that's a whole lie though, bro.
but hold
Don't
on, hold
listen
on,
to
hold
that
on.
shit.
Right, no, no. Let me get it out. Let me get it out. They say marriage is not the end goal no more. But then at the same time, is they push the narrative that they learned that it's a man's job to provide and protect. So it's like you want a man to perform the duties of a husband without making the commitment that comes along with it, and vice versa. They got dudes out here that say, "Well, it's a woman's job to do X, Y, Z." It's like
Mhm.
they push the narrative of I want these duties done, but not without the the contract that goes along with it. You know what I'm
Sounds
saying?
Right.
like you're saying, Tim.
Um,
It sounds like you're saying that oftentimes men want a traditional wife, women want a traditional husband, and neither one are actually trying to do
They want to be traditional
participate
themselves,
in the
right?
traditional roles
Right.
themselves,
Themselves,
actively
exactly. Right,
themselves. That's what it sounds. That's what I'm hearing.
right.
But I have a question because Timothy, as you just said at one point, they were teaching young men to get out there, get a job, and provide for your family, which I can agree with. But what about at the point where they were teaching them to sow their oats?
Mm-hmm.
Because see, a lot of us are taught. Some for it depends on. And I have to say this. I have to agree with Muriel when he said this the other day. Depending on how you are raised in your household, is probably which direction you're gonna take. But some of us aren't taught that. Some of our people aren't taught anything about relationships, aren't taught anything about treating other people in general,
Mm-hmm.
period, outside of a relationship. So, what happens when we have the girls being taught, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this, this is what you have to do to be with a man, and but the boys aren't taught that.
I
Well,
want to say this, Tanya. I
okay.
think what's being told to the girls is this is what you want to do for your man. And with that
Mm.
lesson being taught today, it's but you have to have your own because you can't rely. Actually, no. Before I go to that point, let me go to the girls being taught what to do or how to get a man. But I think girls are also warned what kind of men not to accept the bullshit from.
Mm.
So we can't
It
say
depends.
so no because I mean depending on where you get it from, do you get it from mom and dad? Is your mom is mom one of those very submissive women that would tell you no matter what that's your husband, or is she a strong woman, a stronger woman, or strong enough to say, baby, that's your husband, but do not allow yourself to be humiliated or allow him to humiliate you in any way or put up. You see what I'm saying? So there's
I thought
different
she
Right.
was
levels of
talking
that.
about kids though right now.
Right, but she was talking about teaching young girls how to interact. That's what we're talking about,
Right.
Before
Magadi.
they get to
And
the,
that,
I
but that
thought
it
before
ties
you.
in the way that it ties into promiscuity and monogamy is that as a whole, once upon a time, because like I said, it is the society we live in differently now, is that we were taught to be uh monogamous. We were taught to say, and what Tanya said is true. There was the element of the boys being taught to sow their royal oats, but that was on the condition of get it out of your way, get it out of the way, so that way when you get a woman, you'll be committed and monogamous and faithful to her. So you have your fun, so you can go out, so then you can settle down and be a husband. So
So
that's
what's wrong with the flip side?
right, and that's where the contradiction comes into it. It's like,
I don't.
Exactly.
What contradiction? I'm
well,
flabbergasted.
this is what I'm saying. The contradiction in it is that it's not taught to the girls. The girls are taught that her virtue is in her body, like her worth is in her body. Like
Mm-hmm.
the cliche, keep a quarter between your knees. Like boys, there is no equivalent to that for men. You know what I mean? But
What I'm saying is, let me take this back. I've raised two boys, stepsons, but nevertheless, I raised two boys. Like the way I wouldn't tell boys to go out there and sow wild oats. That it was boys. Look, you got a lifetime to worry about girls. You as a man need to get your shit together. You are a young black man in the United States of America. Everything and everybody is gonna be against you. So you gotta be for yourself for right now. That's what I teach. I'm not teaching about go out there and go get some pussy, young man, have some fun. I mean, like, what the fuck? Like, how are we even? What conversations are y'all having at home?
Well,
I
you
think
we would
I
be
think
we
what
would be
the
an
sister
Huh?
anomaly.
is. I think what the sister's saying is that within that the conversation of go to college, get your education, worry about yourself. There comes a time where the young man is wanting to, he want to bust one, or he's busting it, and you find out he busting it. You letting him know, okay, that's cool, but go ahead and get your education. But because we say that's cool, we don't do that with girls. You
Right.
find out your little girl busting it open. You don't say, "Oh, that's okay. Get your little nut now," and then you be like, "Hey, keep that quarter between your knees. You better be walking knock kneed around this motherfucker." You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So I think that's where she was going with that and what they're saying
No.
within our encouragement of their education, and I'm gonna use college because or college age. That's around the time a lot of times people talk when they talk about college, they think that's where you're supposed to do stupid shit.
Right.
It's
That's too
okay
Alicia,
at that
late.
time
That's too
because you're going to
late.
college.
Alicia, you want to get in here? Alicia, did you want to get in here?
Oh, I'm just listening for now. I mean,
That's
I
too
don't.
late. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
I said
but
I'm just listening. I have two boys, and I would never tell them go out there and
Right.
fuck not. Because if I said
That's
somebody come
weird.
bang my door talking about there's a baby on the way, I gotta kill everybody. Like,
I don't
no.
think I don't think nobody's telling they boys no shit like that. That's like
I
a
certainly would. I certainly didn't. That's
yeah. That ain't
weird.
nobody telling they
Well,
boys no shit like that.
they're
Well,
absolutely
You
telling the
other
said,
girls a whole lot more
Moody,
about
hold
staying
on.
the fuck
wait,
with
There
their
wait,
was
Moody,
parents.
what were you
times, there
told?
has been times with that was taught back in the day, to be honest. I mean, that's
That's what I
just
was
what it
just going to
was.
say. What were
But
you taught as a
nobody
teenager?
today, I don't think is doing it. I hope not.
Now
Right.
Right, not
we
today,
coming a
but there
long
was
way.
a time.
teenage boy.
We getting better as men. That's why. But Moody, why stop it? When you were a teenager, when I was a teenager, Tim was a teenager, Paul was a teenager. Motherfuckers was telling us to get our rocks off. You know that.
Bro, that wasn't coming. That was coming from the uncle that got bitches. That was coming from the
That was coming
motherfuckers that
from
was
majority of the men in our
bro.
lives.
Come
Right,
on,
and
no,
that's
no,
the point
bro.
is that it came from an influential man, but that was in your life.
Yeah.
But
Well,
come
I
on,
don't
Right.
know.
man, y'all
Because when
If
the
I
playing,
boy
may,
turned
man.
13 or 14, he's encouraged to fuck a grown woman by an
Right.
uncle or
well,
the dad or
I
the
don't know.
brother or the homeboy.
Well,
You
I'll
see
say
what I'm
this:
saying?
like with my
I'm hearing
father,
some. I'm hearing. Hold on, Paul. I'm hearing some flat out motherfucking lies on this call right now.
No,
Oh,
Y'all
so
What's
don't
the
little
know.
lie?
Booty,
Hold
hold
on. Let me
on, hold
finish.
What's
on.
the
Let me
Little
lie?
finish. Let
Booty
me
didn't tell
finish.
little Booty
Let me.
didn't get his son
Hold
a
on.
grown
Hold on.
ass
Hold
woman
on.
when he
Hold on.
turned
That's the.
13.
Hold on. I'm saying that there are millions of
your mic
women.
is messed up.
There are millions of women that are telling their daughters right now that their pussy has value and that she bet not give it away for free. If she go be out there, this is the common
Yeah,
theme
that's where
right
the
now.
whole a
I'm
wet
sure.
ass and a dry purse don't make no.
Right,
That's what they
exactly.
were taught.
Stop,
That's
Yeah,
you right.
stop
yeah.
playing
You
like
right.
stop. Hold on, stop playing like we've been teaching virtue to the girls and we've been teaching whole behavior to the boys. Stop motherfucking
Nobody's
playing.
saying that. Nobody's
Nobody's
saying
saying
that.
that.
You
This shit
taking that wrong.
crazy.
Nobody's saying that.
Only
But
thing I
Moody,
can
why
add is like it doesn't even go back to even the direct statement of boys will do this and girls can't do this or that. It's even things like as a girl coming up, and I'm sure others can relate. If we came in even too late, you got locked out, or what you doing at night, all these type of things happen at night. But the boys didn't get that same conversation. Keep it a buck.
shit, we got locked out like a
Shit,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
my mom is
shit.
equal opportunity. I have to tell you
Yeah,
that.
we got locked out like a motherfucker. It was shit.
Ain't that-
But the thing about it is that the points that both sides of that coin are real, and I actually think that what and D was saying is, that was the grandma and the mama teaching that a wet pussy and the dry purse don't match, but it was the daddies telling
Hmm.
that. It was the daddies that was saying keep this quarter between your knees. It was the daddies saying
Right,
that these little boys out here just want one thing from you. Watch out for these little boys.
Hmm.
right.
Right, but
That's
that's
true
what.
too. But
Remember
also,
Tim.
Yeah. Yeah.
that is
Remember
true,
Tim.
right? Timothy is.
Oh,
But
go ahead.
also, when your daddy tells you that you don't need any man that can't do more for you or the equivalent of what he's doing, he's giving you that same message.
that's true.
Right.
But that's
No,
why I told him
no,
on the day we had
no.
that call, and I was making a joke. I said, "Niggas ain't shit," because we were literally teaching our daughters what Tim was saying, but telling our sons to be the niggas that we telling our daughters to watch out for. It's
Right.
crazy.
That's
Mhm.
right.
It was
Yeah.
like
Wait,
on
wait,
both
wait, wait,
sides
wait,
of the
wait, wait,
coin.
wait, 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 wait. How all these babies is being had by fuck niggas then if these girls is getting taught
I
right?
ain't say everybody
Something
was a
ain't
fuck
right.
nigga. That's
Something
not
ain't
what I said.
matching. Something ain't matching, bro.
Why you went there?
But
Ain't nobody say
hold on,
everybody was having babies by fuck
it's
niggas.
not that it don't match. It's just the cliche of how many of us actually did what our parents told us to do. You know,
Right.
Something ain't matching, bro. Something is not matching it. What I'm hearing from these adults and what I'm seeing from these kids ain't matching. What I'm seeing in
something going
today's
on with your mic,
society,
You
Mugabe.
know kids don't listen, motherfucker.
Right.
What you
Hold,
mean?
hold on. Something going on with your mic, Mugabe. I don't know if you
can you hear me
Bluetooth.
better now?
Well, if
No,
you
You know,
keep
it's like crackling. It's like
stutter every
that
Sounds
single
like
word isn't
crumbling
that clear.
paper.
I don't know if you need to charge your Bluetooth or you know what I mean.
It sounds
it
like
sounds
crumbling
like the
paper.
ancestor said, "Get this nigga
he
off the
said, charge
call."
the Bluetooth, Joe. That's great.
No, because sometimes when your Bluetooth battery get low, the connection weakens.
Oh,
It's
Yeah.
weird because Cookie and I have children in these the ages and the brackets, right? These brackets, and I'm close with my boys. Cookie's close with her boys. A lot of
Yeah,
the
my
stuff
daughter.
that a lot of this, well, yeah, right. Well, I'm just saying a lot of stuff that
Right. No, I
when
get
we
it.
have these conversations, when I wait for Mugabe to come back, he's always like, I don't see that. I don't see that. But we're literally parents of these age brackets of children from from the 12-year-old to the 30-something-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, it's absolutely
Yeah.
happening. And it's like,
I got a
let's
25-year-old. That's what I'm saying. I got a 25-year-old son that followed in what he saw, and he at 25, he's married with 2 kids, got his own place. He take
right.
care of he do his thing. He did
Mm-hmm.
what he was taught to do.
And
And
then there's a bunch of 25-year-olds that didn't.
Right. My son's 27 and he ain't got no kids. He ain't married. He's living his life trying to get his music going and
I
going to
mean,
school and stuff. So
how many of us or our peers that we know of absolutely followed everything our parents told us to the T?
that's not
nobody,
nobody has ever done that in the
nobody.
history of
that's exactly
being a child.
that's exactly
Right.
what I said earlier. It's like none of us who actually
Nobody.
what your mama said. Your mama said, "Don't go up the street around the corner with them dudes." What you do? You went up the street and around the corner with them dudes. You did the exact opposite of what they said to do.
Shoot, my grandmother used to tell, from what I was told from my aunts and uncles, and then she would encourage him not to get married because of her marriage, the way her marriage was to their
Right.
father. So I mean,
Right.
you just got those sprinkles of anomalies out there. You know
I
what I'm
mean, I'm
saying?
not gonna
And
lie. And to go with what Tanya was saying, my oldest just turned 18 last week,
Right.
and my baby boy is 14. So I'm an open book because I also feel like in a way, if my parents weren't so closed off about certain things, I probably wouldn't have been in half the situations I was in. Yeah, it made me who I am, and I'm grateful for where I'm at because I'm in a good space
Right.
now, right? But my oldest gets mad at me because he's always like, "Oh, you always trying to make me be in the house." I said, "No, I don't. For one, when I hit your age, I already had you,
Right.
Mhm.
so I know what time it. You know what I mean? Like you can't even play with me like that, Star.
Right.
You
But
know,
when
I
with
want to say
me,
this.
like I would get locked out if I wasn't at the door by a certain time. My mom, like maybe it's an old school parent thing, I don't know, but they swore everything bad happened once the sun went down. Not like you couldn't get fucked during the day, but that's just that, right? My brother could come and go all night, show up when you want to, all that, and they never said shit. But me, let 9 o'clock hit the door and I wasn't there, I'm locked out.
Shit was a little different for me, with my father. Now there were times like I wanted to talk about girls, meaning relationships and stuff. And most times it was how school going, how are you, what your grades looking like, what are you trying to do? And every now and then he say, "So did you fuck her?"
Just
Like,
like randomly, oh
no, I
Lord.
mean, no, I'm talking about, no, I'm saying when I'm talking about, the girls, I'm trying to talk about how to deal with the woman and how I like her. And he says, so his thing was, "So did you fuck her?" Like,
mm,
Yeah, I mean, it's my
yeah.
upbringing. It was really taboo. You know what I mean? So I never wanted to that repeated with my children. Because like I said, I felt like if I learned certain things from my parents or other trusted adults in my life, I wouldn't have walked certain paths. And not listen to like friends or peers, all that.
Yeah.
So
My mother did not encourage me to be out there trying to find a husband at 18, even though I ended up pregnant and married, and a year later a widow. And you know what? I'm sorry to say this, but I feel like had that man not died and we'd have stayed together, I probably wouldn't even have had the experiences that I had and that I'm grateful for today.
mm-hmm.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
my
I
mother.
got married very young too, and it's just like looking back, you know, it's just like shit. I was young as fuck. Like, I mean, but we had these kids, so I was just like fuck, you know. But I wouldn't experience the things either had I not dealt with some of the things I dealt with, you know.
But
But
why did
I
we
just
all
wouldn't.
strive to get married young though? That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. We push monogamy. We grew up in a monogamous society.
I
That's why we
think it's
all want
society.
to
No,
I
get
think it was society structured. Like I think
married.
it was just by default the way it was. You can't really pinpoint where it came from or how it started. It's just the air of society. But
I
now
think
it's evolving.
I
You
think
Could
know.
it
it
was.
be that?
I think
Could
for
it
me,
be?
I think it was his way of having a hold on me. For me, like when I think back on that whole relationship, it was more of if I get her pregnant and if I do this, I can have her forever. Like almost like an anchor.
Yeah. Well, or maybe it was something. Do you think that it's possible that he really did love and like you enough to want to
Right,
be
I
with
want to
you?
do the right
I'm
thing.
not going to remove that out the equation, but I also feel like the anchor was there too.
So it's so in a sense, do we use promiscuous behaviors in order to create a falsehood that is monogamy, like the whole,
Mhm.
like the keep a nigga baby, and even believe it. Yes, yes, I'm gonna say it, and it's gonna be men that's gonna see this video and say this nigga's a simp. There are men that get girls pregnant on purpose and hopes to trap her. That
Well,
happens.
I'm
Especially
gonna
when
tell
they
you,
rape her.
Timothy. Timothy, as I'm gonna tell you, on our first date, he looked at me and said, "I can't wait to get you pregnant." And
Yeah,
I
but
just took it as a being young and naive at that point, right? Because I'm not gonna say that I was like the smartest teenager out there, even though I did have some wits about myself. But in my naive mind at that point, it was like, "Oh God, why is he talking stupid?" But in hindsight, he really was serious.
right. So I'm gonna put a baby in your pretty ass. We're gonna have a beautiful baby. We're probably gonna have quite a
This
few
ain't the
more.
back. This ain't the
And
back
since
chat, Paul. Paul, this not the back chat. It's not the back.
shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. And since you want some pussy, since he wants some pussy, he gonna say whatever he think you want to hear and what you might be thinking as a woman, such as, "Oh, I would have a baby with you." "Oh, you would? I'm gonna put one in you." "Oh, yeah." I mean, we think crazy like that. Our
No,
minds
yeah,
as
the
men.
conversation didn't. It did. The conversation said,
I
"I
didn't
can't
say you
wait to."
had that.
No,
I
no,
didn't.
no.
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying you thought that. I'm saying in
no,
our mind, it's typically thought that women want to get pregnant, especially if she really like me. If she like me as a young man, I'm not trying to get her pregnant. But if I feed into that women want to be pregnant shit until I'm just saying we have convoluted minds like that, and we
right.
try to say all kind of shit to get the pussy, and we do.
Basically, he's
Oh
saying
yeah,
a
yeah,
woman
definitely.
wants a family. So if I'm going into it to get the pussy, I'm act like I want a family, want to build a
Right.
life, all that shit.
Right, he gonna feed you all that shit, and that's what you want is a family. Oh, he do, yeah. I want a family too. Yeah, drop this
Yeah,
baby in you and keep moving.
it's true.
This nigga said it.
It's true. I've seen that happen.
Shit happened to me. Fuck.
Well, mine
That's
was
what it is.
forced. So
Four babies? Oh no. Yeah, I think for me, honestly, what my point where I was just done because I was already kind of like mentally leaving the relationship, the marriage anyway. So there's that. But I was pregnant with my daughter, which is the final one, and he had come in the kitchen, and mind you, he didn't work or anything at the time, and I was just frustrated. And he looks at me and says, "All I want you to be is barefoot and pregnant in the house."
Hmm.
And that shit like enraged me because I'm like, so you think all these bills and
Oh, that
shit
was
just don't like pay themselves? Like
oh, that was a whole other shit there. I don't know what the food. Yeah, I don't know about all that. How you not have a
that,
job
and
and
that shit like
drive?
it literally enraged me because it's like, and I said, I swear to God, you'll never get another one. I promise you that.
And how many did he get out of you?
3. I said I was pregnant with the last one when he said that. And
Oh,
that's
okay.
after the never another. I was straight. Oh no, you ain't finna get me caught up. No, you won't even motherfucking work. Like you don't
You
want to work.
already
You want to
got
do
you
shit.
caught up. What you talking about? You got three. You was already
I've
caught up.
done now. No, but look, see, we had a very tumultuous, ugly, nasty, the worst divorce you can think of, and now I got peace. I'm good now. See, everything worked out.
Oh, Jesus, no, not these.
Everything is perfect. I
Well,
haven't burned nothing since
I'm a
2019.
serial monogamist, like Tim said, and I'm gonna keep getting married until I figure this shit out.
I would get married again. Look, that does not mean I'm against marriage. I love marriage. I think it's dope. I just would never fuck with him ever again. Like we can't even be friends at all.
Well, I
But I would
believe as
absolutely
far
get married
as
again. Huh?
Tim, I
regardless
think you should have took
of the
body
things that
count
went
out
wrong,
the topic.
yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
put body count in the topic because that's been like a hot topic around these social media streets, and the whole concept of demonizing the body count. They got all of these podcasts with a bunch of men saying body count is important because the higher a woman's body count, the less likely she is to pair bond, but not understanding that the human animal isn't a pair bonding animal
Right.
out the gate, out the gate.
Can I
Mm-hmm.
ask a
Well, that
question to
that that's
everybody?
coupled with narcissism and selfishness and ignorance on their
Can
part.
I ask?
Because
Can I ask
again,
everybody?
nobody has conversations about how many people you fucked in
Right.
the damn dating scene. That's stupid.
That's what
Yeah,
I
I
was just getting ready to ask. How many people were really actually asked about their body count? Like
Nobody.
from
I don't. I
I,
mean,
I can
yeah,
honestly
nobody.
say when I was younger, absolutely. But when we were all younger, the whole AIDS epidemic was still kind of like still simmering on the pot. So that fear, because that comes along with body count. The higher that number is, the higher the likelihood that person has something, whether it's the three letters or whatever it is. So from a health standpoint, years ago, yeah, but that was just mostly done to justify wanting to bear back, the whole let me put the tip in and all of that.
Yeah, because
No, hell
even
Mm.
we're
no.
all
That's
the
still
same.
scary
We're all
today.
pretty
The
much
fuck.
the same age. We're all pretty much the same age, and I never had that fucking conversation. And I'm from LA. Like that don't make no sense.
Ninety
You
Now,
percent of
just
the
see, that shit's
time,
still scary to
look,
me
ninety
today.
percent of the
Look,
time,
most of
when
the
you hear
niggas
them,
I know be too busy to be asking about somebody
Like
body
who
count.
asked you some shit like that? I
They
mean,
too
I'm more
busy knocking
excited that the
AIDS
motherfuckers
fact
still
that I
out.
exists.
just I'm
STD
everybody.
more
still
excited
exists.
that I just
So
might
that
get
don't
the
make sense.
pussy. I don't give a
Y'all
fuck
gotta be
who
one
was
at a
fucking her
time.
before I got there.
Y'all can't talk over each other.
see, them type of chances.
Shit.
Y'all
Fuck
I
can't
was
talk
that.
just
over each
happy to
other.
about to get
Right.
it.
Right.
Go ahead,
well,
Mugabe.
I
Go ahead,
think I
Mugabe.
think I think the 90% of the time, if there is a conversation about body count, it's usually someone bringing it, volunteering their information. Like that's the times I've heard it. Like
Right.
I've only been with five guys. That's
Right.
Right.
what that type of shit. Or you know what I mean? Like it's never been like I've never heard a woman ask me, "Well, how many women have you been with?" I've never opened my mouth to ask a woman, "Well, how many men have you been with?" I mean, like I don't think those are real live adult conversations. And I was talking to Tim about this the other day. I think that I think that I think that body count really doesn't mean anything. I think that what most men are saying is can your body count influence or tarnish my reputation?
Sexual
By
history, bro.
by that I mean by that I mean, let's say D goes to the DR and he finds the most beautiful woman he ever met before, but her whole facts ain't right. She got a whole lot of body, she was out there. He brings her to the United States. He ain't tripping. Her reputation can't tarnish him in Georgia. You feel what I'm saying? Like what she did in the DR has absolutely nothing to do with his life in Georgia. None of his
Mhm.
friends know her. None of his friends know her background. So he don't give a flying fuck about her body count. Now on the other hand, if he meets some chick that live around the corner and she was fucking with the broke niggas, the busted niggas, the nigga that was known for having a dirty dick, the nigga that was known
Um,
for the nigga
So
that was
what is
known
it?
right. Then you like, oh shit. Yeah, that's when the body count matters to a man, when it can directly affect his reputation. It's not is that's it. Like if it's there's no other. Who gives a fuck? You're not asking. It doesn't matter. You only care when your sphere of influence knows about her body count. Not when if she has a body count, but when your
Right,
sphere of
The,
influence
right,
the
knows
number
about it.
doesn't matter. The
right.
story matters,
With
bro.
that,
It's
with that being
women.
said, but with that being said, my guy, for real. With that being said, let's apply that to locally. I live locally, and I date a chick, and she got a high body count. But guess what? Nobody in my sphere knows her. So why would her body count matter? It's not going to tarnish
Right.
my
It's not gonna
my
matter.
my
It's not
my
gonna tarnish your reputation.
because
Right.
nobody
Right.
knows her. So
Right.
I'm saying, so when we use these examples of going across country and across the waters, sometimes that can happen within your city. Sometimes, and it probably has for
Mm-hmm.
some people. And you might
Usually it
run
don't
across
happen in your
somebody.
city. Usually, if you dealing with somebody that's like in your
Bro,
age bracket, like we all could have went to school together and shit like that, like
Yeah, but how
you
many
you
schools in every city? How many
this
high
is
schools in
this
every
an
city?
this is an example of something that happens within a
Come
city.
on.
There's a chick who she slept with 10 different dudes that you know, right? She gave it to them, boom, boom, boom. Now she wants you to court her, you're dating her, you're taking her, and you marry her and shit like that. So niggas will start laughing at you, oh, you do blah blah blah. That type of shit's happen in real life. Like motherfuckers, if a
yeah.
chick has several other bodies and you're the one that wanted to marry her and take care of her and do shit like that, niggas will make fun of you like that. But
right.
other than that, that's why I said the story matters,
Nah.
not the actual bodies. I think people care more
Yeah,
about
I
how you
agree.
got those bodies than the amount of bodies you got. If you got
And the
20
and
bodies
the
in one
and the
day,
proximity to your reputation.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you fuck 20 niggas from the area that I'm from versus you fuck 20 niggas from around the world, I don't give a damn. But if you fuck 20 niggas where I'm from, that means more people know about who you fuck. So now I look crazy in a man's mind.
Right. Like
So
you
it's the
don't you
story
you you
behind it that
from
matters.
you from Georgia. You don't care about a broad being a hoe from California. If you met a broad from California and she got a reputation in my neighborhood, who gives a fuck? Because if you like her, you shipping and handling her ass to Georgia, and she get a whole makeover. Her
Now,
reputation get a whole makeover. It,
now
it
let's
don't affect you at
now
all.
let's roll on over into the 21st century now, where the argument of, oh, look at your girl on Instagram with her booty out popping her ass and got her camel toe print all on, and this your girl, and this what you doing. So
Well, I think that's gonna affect young boys more than it affect men. I think that's
right, but
gonna
that's what
affect
Right.
your son.
that's why I was saying roll it into the 21st century and all of that,
Right.
because that is a thing now. That is a reality that we live in now, and that does, like you said, it affects the reputation of the guy, and
Right.
it tarnishes the reputation of the
But,
women.
but
And it
so
isn't, and it isn't even just men that judge women for doing that. It's other women that also judge. Look what
that's
she out here doing. Look what she doing. Like she ain't
That's
got
a
to do all
great
of that.
point, though, Tim.
That's what
That's
I
a
was just
great
about to
point.
say, Tim. Can we, if we all on this phone saying that there's not a problem with that behavior, right? Can we stop judging motherfuckers who participate in that particular behavior? Because we're responsible for the negative connotation that comes along with the promiscuous behavior because we judge the motherfuckers who do it.
If I may,
I
if
Mm-hmm.
I
think
can
so.
respond to that,
Go
if
ahead,
I can
bro.
I'll
respond to that
respond.
real quick, I
Hmm.
get what you're saying, and when you say we, you're talking about society as a whole.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not just talking about us. I'm not talking about anybody
I know,
individually.
but I think the world would be better if you took the stand, if people took the stance I took. How does that affect my life?
Right.
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 Mind
Exactly.
your
Exactly.
Right,
fucking
right.
business.
This same thing. Right,
Wait,
right,
wait.
right.
Now, hold
So
on,
hold on. Hear me out. Hear me out. So since that, like, I follow a lot of people, a lot of models and rappers and people on Instagram. Now, some of these chicks, I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck, sweetie, you don't need to be wearing that. And I keep scrolling. I don't even stop to write that. You know what I'm saying? I just keep scrolling, and then there are those that I I comment, give a heart, and keep moving. But do I really wonder what her personality is like? No, I don't give a fuck. I
Right.
honestly don't give a fuck what her personality.
Okay, hang on, because Alicia was trying to say something, and y'all was all over the top of her. Go ahead, Alicia.
Sorry about
No,
that.
no, you're good. I was just simply saying I can agree with the whole thing. It deals with reputation. I'm also the type where I'm like live and let live. I don't give a fuck about what nobody else do with they self, as long as it's not affecting me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
which like I said, I had a friend like she was everywhere. She literally was, and I didn't care that she was a hoe. Bitch, do what you want to do. I don't care. Until she used my name to cover the shit that she was doing, and it caused a lot of problems for me and my ex. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck would you bring my name up the fuck for? What is you doing right now? You know? So, like I said, otherwise, I don't give a fuck. You can wear what you want. You can have whatever you got hanging out here, there, and everywhere. I've never cared. I live and let live. You know what I mean? Never judge, never give a fuck. I really
I,
don't. You know?
I
I think
But
also
like I
want.
said, I can absolutely agree with how it affects the person. You know what I mean? If it's the guy you're with and his reputation, or the people you're around, because they do want to throw that whole birds of a feather type shit around, right? If it's not affecting me directly, though, I don't give a fuck. I really don't.
I've also seen guys mess with the girl who had a semi reputation, and based on his own personal reputation, nobody would ever utter those words to him about her.
That's true too.
Right, and that brings me to a point I was gonna say. As you get older, right? What I've noticed, there's some women that I've seen around with that now have either engaged or married, but I've seen them with these guys, or these women with these guys often. So it's serious. Obviously, guys my age at some point don't do all that snickling, giggling, talking about I hit that years ago. Yeah, we who got time? Who gives a fuck?
Right.
You
I
know what?
mean, you
I'm gonna be
shouldn't.
honest. When
Yeah.
I see
So,
when I see baby girl that used to be out there and she with her dude, I'm like, hey, what's going on, sweetie? How you doing? Hey man, how you doing? Blah blah blah, and keep it pushing. I'm not gonna sit here and say, hey man, you got a good one, or pretend you got a good one, or man, you gotta watch that bitch. She ain't shit.
well,
That ain't my
now
no.
I'm curious because now I'm
That's
curious
years ago.
because
Right.
the male perspective of this whole get down has been very well and very lengthily spoken on. Now the ladies, does body count really matter to y'all? If is it a thing like if you talking to a dude and you find out he messed with somebody like no I would never fuck behind her, that old type of shit, like does it really matter to you guys too, or is it doesn't matter, like he can you a dude that didn't doesn't stick his dick in a hole in the ground is anywhere he got a hole he'll put his dick there. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
no.
Like, but,
I would say
does it
recklessness.
or does
If
it not?
they if there if I think to me it matters to an extent as far as your recklessness, your reckless sexual history matters to me.
Well, the only
I
way
agree.
you're gonna know if his sexual history was reckless is you gotta have a conversation about the body count. So the
No, I'm not going to ask
Well,
you about your body count. I'm going
no.
to ask you about your sexual history. I'm not asking about body counts. There's two
same,
different
Where
things,
is
hon.
your
same,
paperwork?
same, the man,
Two
Where's
different
your
things,
paperwork?
dear. It's two
the
different things.
semantics,
Sexual history is
semantics.
different from the body count.
All
I
right,
get what
explain
Tim is
that to
saying.
me.
Tim, I get what you're saying. Me personally, I think I kind of feel like somewhat like the men on this. Certain broads, you just not gonna. Nah, I'm good. Right, I get it because you may know something personal about this chick that he may not even know.
Yeah.
So
No, this
instead
is
of
true.
you'll just be looking at him like, yeah, I'm good on that.
But that
You
ain't
know what
really
I mean?
got nothing to do with the body count. That's more
Right.
so.
It doesn't.
That's
Yeah.
Well, in
sexual
regards to the
history. That's what I'm saying. Sexual
right,
history is more important.
But that's
Okay, so
but that's
Fuck
explain
a
to
body
me.
I
count.
don't see the difference in sexual history. Me personally, I don't see the difference in body count and sexual history because it's still in a sense you
Correct.
passing
Mhm.
judgment on a person based on their sexual history, whether it be the amount of people they had sex with, whether how reckless they are in who they had sex with. You're gonna still pass judgment on that person, whether it's damn you fuck 700 women. Oh, it don't matter if they were all virgins and just in a hypothetical versus oh you messed with her. I can't do it. I'll never smash behind her. It's still a judgment thing. Even with men, like, oh damn, you did. She ran through. She didn't had 17 dudes. Oh, she ran through. It's just it's all everyone
You'll
passing.
never know her body count. That's going to her
But
grave.
But
it
but
is
but
it
I
is
need
two different
Cookie.
You'll
things
never
though.
know.
Hold
So
on.
it
I need
don't it don't
Cookie
even matter.
I need Cookie
Hang
to
on,
do
y'all.
something for me.
Same
Hold on. I
It
need
is
Cookie
two
to
different
explain
things though.
something for me.
Call a
Ex-
shrink.
to
I
land
need
my
Cookie
plane.
to
May I
I need
land my
Cookie to
plane, please? May I land my plane, please? Thank you.
Oh, I
okay.
thought you did.
All I'm simply saying is that the whole concept of this body count and sexual history all stems back to every individual person passing a judgment on the person on whatever that sexual history be, whether it be body count or STD or reckless or whatever. It's still us passing judgment based on a sexual history, and I land the plane.
I
Can
want to
you
see
see
some
Okay.
it that way?
paperwork.
Let me just say this real quick. Timotheus, is it more so of like if I know, so say I know this chick, I know her get down, I know she might have had a disease or two. Is it that I'm passing judgment
Oh
on
no.
him or I'm passing judgment on her?
Right.
You
While
passing
I wouldn't sleep with
passing
him.
you're passing judgment on him because you're looking at him like, oh, this the type of chick you would mess with. Oh, he like
Um,
these type of girls. Like, oh,
But
okay.
I'm not saying it and what I'm trying to say to you is I'm not looking at him. I just said, remember, key words that I said. It might be something he doesn't know about her that I know. So I'm not
Okay.
really, I'm just saying after you hit that, yeah, I'm not gonna hit you.
I, I need clarification on something. I really do. Y'all just I heard body count and sexual history and just got lost in the got y'all just left me behind. Somebody cut the ties.
Uh,
Help me find my way. Help me find my way.
Tim said it's one and the same,
All
but I
right,
don't
listen
believe
to my
it's one.
question. Listen to my question. This is what I need to know. When you talk about sexual history, what does that conversation sound like, and what is the difference? What is one specific difference that you can say discussing sexual history is? I need examples because y'all just throwing that shit out there all
I'm about
loosely
to give
like
you an
that.
example.
Whoa,
I'm about
whoa,
to give
whoa,
you an
whoa, whoa, whoa,
example.
whoa! I don't
If I'm
understand his
talking about
question.
meaningful,
I don't understand his
I
question.
do. So let me answer it,
Well, hold
Woody.
on. Let him clarify his question before you start answering it, bro. Because
Okay,
everybody want to be able to answer the question.
here's
Say
my
your
question,
question again,
McGab.
brother.
All right, here's the question. They're saying that there's a difference between body count and sexual history. I know what body count is. But if sexual history is something different, I need to understand how does that conversation happen? What does it sound like when you ask somebody about their sexual history? That's part one, right? What does that sound like to ask about sexual history? Number two, how do you have a discussion about someone's sexual history to make a judgment to call it a body count? This is what I'm not understanding. What do you mean sexual history? What are you asking? What are the questions you're wanting to know to discuss their sexual history?
I
Okay,
think
now
Cookie
let
Nine
me
should
let me
times
answer
out
clarify
of
this
that.
ten,
question.
I
nine
think
times
Cookie
out of
should
ten,
wait, D. I think Cookie should clarify that because
Yeah,
she's the one
right,
I
and
brought
that's
that
what I was
said, hold
asking.
on.
I brought
She's
up
the
sexual
right.
history.
She's the one who said this. That's two different things.
I was
D
the
Right.
first
actually
one
was
that
the
said
one
that.
that said it, not me.
I said that. That's why I was
Okay,
trying
but
to
I
clarify.
responded to okay. One of y'all explain that to
I
me.
know. I
Help me
heard. I
The
understand
heard.
that.
difference between body count and sexual history, right? When I'm detailing my sexual history, when I'm talking to people that I care about or people that I'm close to or whatever, I'm not necessarily talking about every woman that I've encountered sexually. I'm talking about the ones that matter to me and shaped how I view sex, what I'm doing in sex, and shit like that. That's what sexual history is. So that doesn't encounter my complete body count. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm telling her different stories about encounters I've had with different women, that don't encompass every woman that I've ever fucked in my life. That's just some of them.
Got you.
So she can
Got
get
you.
so she can get some sort of thing about my sexual history based on these different stories that I'm telling her, and she can make her judgment on that, or whether she think I'm a hoe, she think I'm inexperienced, overly experienced, or whatever, based off that. typically the conversation comes up when you just talking with motherfuckers that you talk to often. If you're in a relationship, your situation is gonna come up where you can ask, well, uh, maybe y'all talk about something that you're into. If the woman says she's not into anal, but you are, you may say, well, I tried this with this person, or my in my past relationship I did this. That's
Right.
part of sexual history. They don't have
Right.
shit to do with body count.
All right, can I
Mm-hmm.
say something, please?
Yeah, go ahead. And I want to go after Mugabe.
Right, and to make you understand it better, Paul. Like body count is the amount of people, like hypothetically speaking, if a woman for whatever reason the conversation about your body count came up, and a man said, oh, I've had 5 sexual partners in my life, I've had 5 sexual partners. She'd be like, oh, okay, that's the body count. Now if you say sexual history, what if 4 of them motherfuckers was men? She
Right.
might need to know that.
Right, right, right.
You feel what I'm
Boom. Right
saying?
there,
That's what I
Manila.
was
Right
gonna
the
bring
fuck
up.
there.
Yeah,
That's
she
what I
might
was
need
gonna
to.
bring up.
Yeah, she might need
I
to. She
love
might
it.
need to.
Right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, she might need to know. Like you ain't got your count. This is what makes the difference, bro. It's like
That makes
No, I want to know why you
yeah.
put emphasis on men saying that shit to me. Like,
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
no. I'm
No,
answering
I
the
get it
question.
though.
history.
No, that's
It's
the point though.
history.
That's the
It's
point of the
history.
question. That's what
Yeah,
makes the history
That's
a little
history.
more important than the
Exactly.
count. You know what I
right.
mean? Like
Hey,
we know that most women that contract HIV and AIDS contract it from men who have sex with other men. So
Right.
that's a very important thing for a woman to know. Hey,
Exactly.
have you been fucking other men? That's important for her to know. It ain't more important, or just as important, if that's important to you at all. Just as important to how many motherfuckers you've been sleeping with. Have you been sleeping with men? Now, I wanted to segue from that into something different. Tim said something about 15 minutes ago. Paul, you started it off, and in the age of the internet, and where the topic of the conversation was promiscuity and monogamy. Now, is can we still consider a person monogamous, or well, factually they're monogamous, but what do you guys feel about hypothetically one of these chicks that's busting it open all over the internet? She's got provocative pictures everywhere, and she's basically putting free porn on the internet. Is is how do you guys feel about dating a woman that does such
not
to the
gonna happen.
men?
Not
all
gonna
right.
happen.
So I
But
want to.
she's monogamous. She's only giving the pussy to you, but
Not
she got it
not
bust open, pussy
not going
prints,
It
not
goes back
gonna
to
twerking.
happen.
hang on.
Okay,
Not
That goes
and
that
why
goes back to
so?
hang
I'm
on,
gonna
hang
tell
on.
you.
Because I had called to respond after Mugabe. Let's show some decorum. All right. So, what I wanted to say about what we were talking about before is that everything that you guys were saying is correct about the whole, but the way I view it is with the whole body count versus sexual history is I see sexual history is the top of a paper and it has a line under it, and your underneath your sexual history falls body count, the gender of the people you had sex with, blah blah blah. What are you into? Sexual, weird, whatever freaky things. All of that falls under the category of sexual history. Now, to what Mugabe was saying about this whole the women online busting it open, it goes back to the point like you were making earlier. It goes back to the reputation and how the man
Mm-hmm.
viewed and judged by other men. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Right.
nigga, it's like oh,
Okay.
it's like your girl is not even sacred to you. It's like nigga, anybody can just see your woman bust it open, and it
Right.
creates it
Right.
creates
Because I
And
think we live
creates
in a
and,
gray
and that's
area
what I
right
wanted to.
now.
Well, that's what I wanted to address is that see, I couldn't date a woman that dressed a certain way that like let's say some of those and I don't want to shame all trying to shame all the Instagram models. I'm sure they're beautiful women inside and out. But I'm saying um I
Ooh, that
wouldn't
was
want my
good. That
woman
was
wearing
good.
certain
That was
provocative.
Petty.
Yeah, I
good.
am. I'm getting good, nigga. Uh,
Petty.
I wouldn't want my woman wearing certain provocative
Here go the cape.
clothing
Here go the
in the
cape.
public, right? So why would I definitely could not date a stripper or a Instagram model. Because you're
But
doing
she's
too much.
monogamous to you though. She's
I
No,
so
could.
you the
listen what I
only.
said. I cannot I could not date a woman who is going to dress a certain type of way in public. Therefore, if I take it like that for just dressing in public and not being on Insta on the web, I damn sure ain't gonna be able to do that with someone who's on the web. I'm not gonna be able to
Right.
do it. I can't do it.
D. What about you,
It's not
D?
gonna happen.
D.
I
What
just
about you?
said I could. I don't. I told you this before. I keep repeating the same shit over and over. I don't. That shit don't matter to me, bro. How she is with me, to me, what she does for me, how loyal she is, all that shit matters to me, bro. What you wearing, what you did, but none of that shit matters to me for real, bro. I
But
don't. I
so
don't.
so presently, I'm just making for clarification. You meet a chick, you know she's an awesome chick. You fucking with her heavy, and she just can't put clothes on when she get on Instagram. She just can't seem to get fully clothed. Everything got to be busting it open, twerking it, monkey shots, some seductive bullshit. You okay with that?
9 times out of 10, if I met her and I'm dating her, then I already knew that shit was going on, fam. That's what I'm saying. I can't go to the strip. I can't frequent the strip club, meet a
Hold
woman.
on. That's a caveat. Let's assume that caveat is unknown.
But how would it? How did I meet her? Like
Let's say
she
you
would
met
have
her.
to be living two completely different
You
lives.
met her at the gas station.
Well, that's two. Okay, that's a different. So if she's leaving so even if I met her at a gas station, typically I'm going to follow her on social media at some point, right? Because she's my somebody that I'm interested in. So if I'm on
Mm-hmm.
her Instagram, Snapchat, whatever the fuck, I'm seeing what she posts. So before I
Deep,
go more deep delve deeper into this relationship, I'm going to have to ask myself some questions. Do I want to do this? Is this okay with me? All that type of shit. I'm not going to try to change the woman. You see what
have
I'm
you ever
saying?
done
So
it though, D?
you
Have you
wouldn't.
ever dated someone
I
like that?
dated a stripper. Yes,
Okay.
All
yes,
right.
facts. I've done it, but that's what I'm saying. I can't go into. I'm not gonna walk into someone's life with them
But
being who they
can I
are,
say
me
that?
knowing who they are,
Can I
and
say this,
then trying
bro?
to change it.
D.
Go
You
ahead.
know, there's a huge difference between these bras on Instagram and a stripper. The stripper, that's her job. Most of these chicks is doing this shit for attention in hopes of trying to get some money
But
from some
no, I
thirsty
agree.
nigga.
But that's what I'm saying. If I meet a chick, if I met her at a gas station, then I follow her on Instagram and I see what her activity looks like. If I'm not fucking with it, then me and her probably ain't gonna be dating. You see what I'm saying? She gonna
Right.
live her life the
That's
way
why
she
I
want to
asked
live.
that's why I asked the question. I'm saying you meet Shorty at the she bad for whatever your bad is. You holler at her, you chopping at her, you spitting at her, and you eventually you find out about her IG. You see her IG, and 80% of her content is just, like most of these broads, just some random broad gyrating in front of the camera for no motherfucking reason, ain't making no money doing it, just gyrating in front of the camera for attention. Or are you going to say to yourself, this is a woman that I might be able to build a relationship with?
Well, what about that
I've
woman that
dated a
don't do nothing
stripper,
but
so
smoke
I
weed
don't
all
know.
the time?
I've
That's
dated
a
somebody that
stripper
literally.
totally different,
But I'm
bro. A
saying, listen,
stripper
what I'm
different.
saying, bro. I've dated somebody that came from the sex work lifestyle. You understand?
You not
So my views on that shit is completely different than the average nigga already.
bro,
You see
listen
what I'm
to
saying?
me. D.
Listen,
Let's be
Well,
adults
Mugabe,
about this
you're
shit.
not listening to what Mugabe is, what D is saying. D is saying, I have dated a woman that sold pussy. So if she just showing pictures on the internet, that ain't shit. That's what I heard him say.
facts. If I and that's what
That's
I'm
what
saying.
I heard too.
If she's not trying to completely hide her lifestyle from me, right? Where like I'm thinking she just a
So
good girl or
so
whatever, and she's actually this. That's different because now you're trying to play me. But if
so
you come
let
to
me
you
see if I got
present it,
this right. I just need
well,
clarity, bro. I need some clarity.
well,
So the stripper is a sex worker that
facts.
e- she's a sex worker. We whatever the case may be. The Instagram model is a is a basically a bootleg sex worker. You don't mind fucking with the bootleg sex worker because you fucked with the real sex worker.
No, I'm not gonna put, I've never dated an Instagram model. Let me put that out there. I've never dated an Instagram. I don't, that's not really, I like meeting my women in person for real. So I
Right.
don't know. I've never came across that to where there's even been an issue. What I'm saying is, I can't imagine myself be tripping about some pictures that's being liked on Instagram when I know you used to shake your ass in front of men and they used to touch you in public, fam. I can't imagine me
Uh,
being mad at people liking your pictures when niggas used to put hands on you. You see what I'm saying?
I'm maybe I'm lost in the sauce or lost in translation. Like, to me, the stripper, the stripper is a real low key sex worker. It is what it is. I know that when she go to work, she's getting on that pole. She's gonna get money put in her G string. It's gonna be motherfuckers getting at her. But at the end of the day, whatever the tip she made, I know she got that. As opposed to the overwhelming majority of these females that are half naked on Instagram are broke as fuck. They're not
Why is it
Well,
making
far
a.
fetched? Why
well,
is it far
They're
fetched to
you're
not
thinking
making.
understand
like
what
a
he's
pimp.
saying?
But
Can I finish, bro?
my bad.
God damn. The overwhelming majority of these bras that's getting half naked on IG and TikTok and other platforms, they're fucking broke. They're not making any money. They're putting themselves out there in an attempt to bring some money in the door, but it's not. And more than likely, she's not gonna tell you that. She's not gonna say, "Hey, daddy, I'm doing this because hey, these niggas like me. They gonna be in my inbox, and I'm gonna do some flirting and make a motherfucker think." Because that's what they have to do. That's what they have to do. They go do some flirting in the inbox, and I gotta make this motherfucker think I like him, and hopefully he send me some money. Passive shit that the girl on the pole is doing outright. So you're okay with that? I'm just making sure I
Bro,
fully
see,
understand that.
you're trying to. It's like you trying to get me to say, bro. It's not about the making of the money. We're talking about the act of the
The
woman
money
showing
makes a
her
huge
ass
difference,
publicly. No, it's not, because you're talking about the
right?
woman showing her ass publicly, right? It's Instagram models who literally make money on Instagram showing their ass. You see
The
what I'm saying? Just
overwhelming
because
majority of them bitches on
I,
Instagram
I
broke, my
don't, but
nigga.
I don't know that is what I'm saying, bro. Just like the
You know
stripper
that.
that, listen, what I'm saying, I don't know how, just because you strip in a strip club don't mean you bringing home
Bro,
thousands of,
don't do that,
listen to
bro.
what I'm
Don't.
saying.
Come on,
Bro,
man.
listen to what I'm saying. Just because you strip in a strip club don't mean you bringing home thousands of dollars a day, right? That don't mean that. We assume that every stripper is making this a bunch of money,
That's
but
not
that's not.
no. That ain't my
Okay, so
assumption,
what I'm saying is, if a stripper, just because she strips and she's making money stripping, don't make it any less than a woman who's doing it for attention and follows and whatever, because that's the times we in. The women when I was coming up, or the women that was going to college and shit, they were stripping to put themselves through college or whatever. Most of the young women these days are trying to be entrepreneurs and shit. So why the fuck would so they doing it through Instagram? So they may start off showing some little ass to gain a following, get some attention or whatever. Then they like, here, come buy my clothes. Come get your makeup done by me. Come get your. It's the same shit, bro. It's no different.
But
Mm.
why do we automatically assume that women are half naked for attention? Some people just like nakedness.
they have
Hmm.
naked for attention. You ain't gotta be on
No,
it.
that
You
it doesn't. Okay, hold
yes,
on. No, Madiwa, that's your thoughts. Some
that's the
people
real.
just like.
Mm.
Hold on, Madiwa.
Go ahead, because I want to respond
Some
to.
women, some women just like to be fucking naked, and if they could be butt ass naked every day, they would be.
Yeah, I
Stop it.
would. I love
Most of the
nakedness.
Instagram women is not
Hold
the
on,
ones you're talking about though. The
hold on,
the
D.
women that just enjoy being naked are not taking pictures being naked
Am I not
Why?
being heard? Can y'all not hear me? Do
because
I
they
got?
not.
We
They
live
just
in a we live
enjoying
in a
being naked.
we live in a tech we live in a
Can you hear me now? Can you hear
technological
me
Yeah,
now?
age
we
where
hear you,
pictures.
bro. She just talking over
But
you.
But I was talking.
Damn. No, you stopped because I asked to respond right after, and that's when D started talking.
Oh,
Now,
Oh, my bad,
my
Sam.
bad. I
but
want. But
to
go
to,
ahead,
to
Cynthia.
to comment to what you were saying, as far as there, in my line of work, I work at a spray a nudist colony. Those are people that really enjoy just being naked. Now, a person that enjoys being naked, and then if they're not doing it for attention, what is the purpose of them taking the photographs and putting them
Thank
online
you.
for
Well,
people
you
to
have
be
to ask
cute and
them. We
stuff
can't
like that?
just assume.
But that's literally what
That's
it's.
a good assumption to make, though.
No,
If
that's
I'm posting something
I don't
online,
think
it's because I
so.
want people to see it.
you want people to see it. Exactly.
Absolutely.
But
Exactly.
just
Come
because
on,
I want
Tanya.
people,
Don't do this.
no,
Don't die on this
no,
hill.
I can.
What?
I will absolutely stand on this hill
Oh
because
my
I'm a
god.
person. I put a lot of pictures on Instagram. I don't put a lot of pictures on Facebook, but
But
most
they
of my
not
Insta.
naked, though.
Hold on. But because I post a lot of pictures, there are people that are actually sitting back saying, "She always want attention. She always posting pictures." There are people that are saying that about me, and they aren't naked pictures.
I post a lot of pictures on Facebook. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I'm cute.
Yeah.
Right.
But y'all know the difference in what we're talking
Y'all
about.
literally missing the
We're
point.
not missing. We're just saying
Y'all
that we
can't. Y'all
can't.
cannot. You sis. I was speaking right now. Please don't
Go ahead.
hijack the
Go ahead.
conversation.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Like
ahead.
when we're talking about, for instance, a woman that the overwhelming majority of her social media content is her in some provocative poses, provocative clothing,
Nobody went there.
provocative whatever. Like that's the overwhelming majority of her content. She's not
Mm-hmm.
talking about systemic racism. She's not talking about politics. She's not talking about Pokemon cards. She's not talking about building Chevy engine 350s from scratch. The
She talking
overwhelming
about
majority of her
building a
content,
Pokemon line.
right, the overwhelming majority of her content is her wagging her ass on social media. We know that as it is right now, it's not monetized to the point to where her having her ass and her titties or whatever on social media, she's not getting any money from it. The overwhelming majority of women ain't getting money from it. What they're fishing for is attention. Let's just be perfectly clear. There's no shade, there's no hate, there's no vitriol in this statement. They're hoping someone likes them enough to give them attention and possibly monetary attention. Now, I said that to say, how does a guy that met her at the gas station, how does a guy that met her at the gas station, how should he feel about his boo thing all up in these motherfuckers' face virtually with her ass, titties, and all of that? How does that work?
How did
Some
she
men don't
become my
care.
boo?
Some
How did
men
she
don't
become
care.
my boo?
Shit.
How did she become my boo without me knowing that, bro?
Because you don't know, she ain't told you.
If
Sam,
you
we
want,
live in it's 2023.
That don't make
There's
no
no
sense.
fucking way that a woman can become my boo, somebody that I'm dating in a relationship with,
But
and I'm
I
not
forget.
privy
I
to what
forgot.
goes
You're
on her
right. You're
social
right.
media, man.
You're right. I forgot because nowadays y'all don't ask for phone numbers. You say, "What's your IG?" My bad. You're right.
No, it's not. It's not even that. It's just we all involved in social media in 2023. So
But the
nine
bigger
times out of ten,
question, the bigger
Now,
question I was going with is that is there a such thing as being social media promiscuous?
absolutely.
Okay, ladies, is there a such thing as being you're physically monogamous to your man? I'm asking a bigger question now. This is a whole bigger question. You're physically monogamous to a man, but or is there a thing as being social media promiscuous? You got all these niggas in your inbox because of your behavior, Not because you posting a cure for prostate cancer and they just love you to death.
He's not a
that
humanitarian,
would
right?
be
Not a humanitarian.
considered cheating, right?
Right. Would that be considered a form of promiscuity?
Yeah.
You talking about like thirst trapping and all that
Mhm.
shit.
That's what all that shit is, a big thirst
Yeah,
trap.
yeah.
Yeah.
This
Hold
promiscuity. I
on,
wouldn't say
Yeah.
it's cheating, but
hold
it's definitely a form of
on.
it's
It could
I
be
get to
cheating because
explore.
it's like sexting someone that's not your
Hang on.
man or your woman.
Oh,
That's
well, yeah,
considered
well,
cheating.
yeah.
I
If
was
you're
gonna say, what
engaging with the
about
dudes that,
sexting?
I want to
if
work.
you're engaging with the dudes that inbox you, but I'm saying simply exploring your sexual whatever you taking a picture for attention or whatever the hell you're doing it for. That's
I
not
want,
necessarily
I
cheating.
want
That's
to
just you
ask the
being
question this way. I want
promiscuous.
to ask the ladies this
Well,
way.
I would say that's disrespect.
Hold on. I want to
I
ask the
think,
ladies this way. I want to ask the
yes.
ladies this way. So, the flip side would be, would you be 100% okay with your dude posting pictures online with the good speedo, doing the
I'm
Of
not
course
dating
not.
nobody with speedos.
Of course not. That's a
doing
crazy question to ask.
He
That's a
can
good
have
question
mad
to ask.
gray sweatpants pictures though. I wouldn't
Would
care.
y'all even date a nigga with a speedo?
No,
No.
no. He can have the good gray sweatpants pictures. I wouldn't care. Let me tell you something.
Right.
One thing about me is I love a man that other women turn their head to look at. I'm not jealous of that. If anything, it makes me smile on the inside and out. I'm not jealous. I'm not the one that like, what she looking at? I'm not doing that. Listen, do what you want. I'm a firm believer in letting people be who they are because then it shows you who they really are.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even, I don't really care about all of this stuff. It
But
doesn't
I'm saying,
matter to me.
could you engage in a relationship? Yeah, okay, he got the gray sweat. Matter of fact, got some gray sweats on right now. That's crazy. But the nigga got the gray sweatpants on,
What you
and
working with, Medea? What you
yeah,
working with?
let me do that right now.
Nigga,
I'm
do
gonna send you
not
my
turn on
cash
that
app. You better
camera.
stop playing.
Turn
You
You
that
know,
do
camera
not
on,
turn.
Medea.
Hey, you better send it to the inbox, nigga.
you know what I'm saying?
Don't
Stick
keep
to the
turning that
inbox,
camera on,
goddammit.
bro.
The point of what I'm making is, could you find yourself, if you know that this person has attention seeking behavior on the internet? He's not posting about, okay, every now and then everybody does something that's a little, what do they call it back in the day, risque. Everybody does something that's a little risque on social media, but I'm talking about the overwhelming majority of this man content is of a sexual nature. You know that bitches is in his inbox. You know that they coming for him real strong. Could you see yourself trying to forge together, or could your ego see yourself trying to forge together a genuine relationship with this person that's getting all of this?
Hell no.
I don't care. I
Yeah,
don't
you
No,
do.
care.
I'll,
to,
I'll
to
have to
flip
say
it,
no. And I'm
to
not
I
a
flip
don't
it,
jealous person,
care.
but I have to say no.
Thank you.
to
I
flip
mean,
it
me
back,
personally,
That's
but
I'm
to
just
fine.
flip
saying,
it back
I
on the man,
hold on, D, because they
my
asking
fault.
women
Go
questions.
ahead.
I don't care because guess what? If he decides that he wants to respond to those inboxes, then that's the choice he has to make, and then that's when we go our separate ways. But a chick could be hitting his inbox all day and he's not responding to them. I don't care. I listen. One thing that I understand, I learned this in life.
Hmm.
If you're going to deal with someone, you have to take them for what they are and who they are. And if you can't deal with it, then it's time for you to make your next move your best move. But you cannot demand that people change just to be with you. They have to want to do that on their own.
What I'm saying is, I don't think
I know what you're
I'm
saying.
okay. What am I
But he ain't
saying?
talking about
Moody
them
Rock,
changing though, Tanya.
Well,
He
what
not
I'm
Moody
talking
saying
Rock.
about.
is,
It's not about
I just,
change.
how many times did I say I don't care? The nigga could be in his great boxers. I don't give a fuck.
This
Heard,
this
I'm
the
not
heard.
best thing.
jealous like that. I don't care. Every picture could be his dick bulging.
I
I
think
don't care.
I think everybody on here would
I care about
rather their
monogamy.
mate would rather their
No,
mate.
I'm not upset. I'm just saying I don't care because it's like because what I'm noticing, and this is the same thing, even with the question to D, you keep trying to rephrase the question, and it's the same answer every time.
Right.
I
Right.
think everybody on here though would rather their mate have their proverbial hoe face on social media than in real life, bro.
Say that again. Say that again.
I think everybody on this fucking stream right now would rather their mate, potential mate, whatever, have their proverbial hoe face on social media, meaning gaining the
You got
attention.
me fucked up. No, I
You
already
No,
would
told
rather it
y'all.
be in
Hell
real
no. You
life.
got me
You would rather
fucked
them
up.
actually go out there fucking motherfuckers.
What I just said. This is what this is what I look forward to. If you're a modest woman in real life, you better be modest online.
Right.
I
That's
just
where
said, but if
I'm at.
she's going through her
If she,
proverbial hoe
I'm
phase,
not dealing with that. What, proverbial
Yeah,
bitch,
he's
we
saying
50
it all
something
night
years
long.
old. You should have been had that out your system.
she
You know
may
what?
not have had a good chance to get it. Everybody
And that
wants some
was
type
You
of
true.
could have
attention.
had
We got to stop this acting like
Okay, but listen, D,
this shit
when you
crazy.
talking to me, right, about what we're saying, right? For
Hmm.
me, if a woman is at that stage in her life, when I meet her, she's gonna be right there when I walk away, because that's what's gonna happen. She's
And
gonna
That's
that's
stay
cool.
right
fine.
where the
I
fuck
said
she
that's
at.
cool. I said, but if you
Bro,
had the choice,
you not go entertain a real relationship with a bitch you know that's being thirsty, that's putting out thirst traps on social media. You go try
Right.
to get the pussy and move forward. You are not gonna let
oh, it
your
depends on the
subconscious. Hold
relationship
on,
I
bro.
have with the
Hold on,
woman,
bro.
bro.
Hold on, bro.
Yo, do you know who Panda is?
Your
Who?
subconscious is not gonna let you do that shit, bro.
Yo, what
Timothy, is
up? What
y'all know
up?
who Panda is?
My
Do y'all
shit
ever have y'all
different.
ever heard of Panda?
The
Nuh-uh.
rapper.
No,
no,
she
no,
was
yes.
a
Oh,
Instagram
you talking
model
about
slash
Panda?
bottle girl.
You talking
My,
about Panda Supreme? I know who the fuck she
oh,
is.
That's my
my bad.
cousin. That's my cousin's baby mother. They were in
Oh,
a whole relationship. He helped her get her body right so that she could be in these places.
Yeah, and she
He's
only
a
did shit with
sucker.
that
He's
nigga
a
for
whole
real
y'all,
too.
sucker.
y'all just
Okay,
talking about
He's a whole
See,
sucker.
well, listen.
there you go
I
again.
ain't gonna say
You heard
what
what
I ain't gonna
Madrid
say
just
what
said.
Mugabe
I,
said.
I thought
He
that
I
was
ain't
said
gonna say
cause him
what
a
Mugabe
see.
said.
I thought that was
That's
Paul's
that.
maiden name. My bad. I thought
All
Panda
right.
was Paul's maiden name. My bad.
No, nigga. That
Hey, what's going on, Isaiah? Everybody welcome
I
Isaiah
can.
to the call. Everybody
What's
Hi,
welcome.
up,
Isaiah.
Isaiah?
What's up, Isaiah? See,
But I
Moody,
was
why you
saying that,
just
like,
did it?
so my
I'm
point
in the
was
car driving
that
home.
some men don't care. Some men don't care. He helped her get her
Hmm.
body to the position where 50 Cent came to her, one of the
Okay.
closets, asked her to leave him, and he would buy her a house. He would do all this
And,
shit. And guess what? She stayed with that nigga who lived in his
and
mama house.
and that goes back to what I said about younger people doing that shit. Older people don't do that bullshit. So when you're younger, yes, there are certain things that you're gonna tolerate because you're learning and experiencing and maybe coming into yourself and saying, "Hey, this is what I like. I can deal with this." Sure, but as you get older, there are certain things you're just not gonna deal with.
Well, I
And
can
that
Vivica
agree
shit
with
Fox
that
right
part,
had a
but
there,
y'all
threesome.
you
asking
just
a
ain't
young
gonna fucking
person.
deal with.
Y'all
Vivica
asking a
Fox
young
had a
person.
threesome on her 50th birthday. So
I said,
Right.
I listen to what I
living her
said.
best life.
I said there are things that you do when you're younger that if you haven't if you let me put it like this. Once I've done it in my youth, I don't need to do it in my old age. If I've never done it in my youth and want to do it in my old age, then that's on me. And I think you're a fucking asshole for waiting so goddamn long trying to play innocent. Get that shit out your system young.
Maybe
Oh,
you
but
need
this is
to
what
the
I hear you
courage to
saying.
do it,
So that's
young.
why I'm
You
saying
have sex young, you have sex old. What you mean?
I
I'm
wanna be
saying if you
settled.
would,
I wanna be settled
why wait
down.
till you get 50 years old to decide you want to suck 3 dicks at once?
That's
They
what
Because
she
maybe
chose to do. Ask her that.
that was the age she was comfortable at
That's what she
doing it.
it,
chose
ain't-
to
it,
do. Go ask her.
she probably been wanting to do it, but she did it
Yeah.
then because she comfortable doing that shit.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Shit. Let her
She
do what
don't
she
give a
wanna
fuck
do.
about
I,
judgment.
you
Don't
know what I
matter.
think?
Who
Right. I
got
think
something
that's
to
what's
say?
happening.
Who got something to say? Don't matter. She comfortable in her own skin. I don't give a fuck what y'all got
Exactly.
to say about.
She's still rich. She's still living her best life. And yeah, that's it and
I
that's
mean,
all.
fuck all the dick she
But no,
wanted. She
Paul, your point is valid though. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Like I'm only 33, right? But I don't want to be in a dating pool at 50 years old trying to look for love and shit like that, bro. I do not want to
right,
be doing it.
right. And I don't blame you.
Looking for
It sucks
love
up
in
here.
all the wrong
The
places.
But what
dating
if
pool
you're
at
not
50
comfortable?
sucks.
Huh?
What if when you get fit, when you turn 50, is when you're able to throw that sexual what's the word I'm looking for, guys? When you're afraid to do certain things.
Oh well, I'm stopping being afraid now. I'm free now, so I don't got
No,
to worry
I'm
about it
saying
when I'm
there's
50.
a
Talking
word that
about
I was looking for, but if
fear,
no,
embarrassment,
well,
shy.
well, whatever word it is. What if it's at 50 or 45 or 50
No,
that you say, you know what? I'm not
intimidated.
afraid anymore. I'm
That's why
gonna
I say
do
that's
this
what
shit.
happened with old girl. She didn't give a damn what nobody thought. She wanted to have a threesome for a long time. She had it for her 50th birthday.
Right.
Nobody good.
You
She
talking about
finally had
AJ?
it.
You talking about AJ Johnson? I remember that they had a whole news article about that old girl, the dancer AJ Johnson, the mama from Baby Boy.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what she did for her 50th birthday. That's what she wanted to do.
Oh, congratulations to her. Who gives a
She
fuck?
See,
wanted to
but
do
like
what?
I said, it goes back to the conversation that we're having. Look at what Moody Wise said. Look at what Paul said. We are castrating this woman for living out what we're saying is her natural self. She finally
Right.
got to a point to where she's able to say, "Hey, this is what I want," but
Exactly.
I'm not afraid of society to judge me. And look what niggas do. But then you niggas get
Look
on
what
here and
nigga
say,
said.
"No,
Look
we're
what nigga
promiscuous
said.
by nature. We supposed to do this and do that." That's what
No.
she's
Right.
doing.
Well, let's
It's a
look at what
total
nigga said.
contradiction.
Let's look
It's a
at what
total
nigga said.
contradiction.
Let's look at what nigga said. Nigga said, get that shit out your system when you're young. And that's what nigga
But you
said over
can't
here. I don't
tell
know about other
somebody
niggas.
when to get something
Hold
out their
on, hold
system.
on.
Right.
Okay, you can respond when I get done, all right?
I'm
But
sorry,
I
I
say,
thought you were done. My apologize.
get that shit out your system when you're young. That way, when you're older, you even know if that's ever been for you. Then you can say I experienced it. If you've never experienced it and you waited, then waited. I really don't give a fuck. But please do not use that as an example to try to say, well, see, people still do this and do that. Those are the anomalies. Very seldom do you hear about or even care about any other 50-year-olds having threesomes. Now, do
I,
you?
But we
Paul,
don't
you're
know
saying,
just
everybody.
heard,
Y'all keep
You're
saying things
saying,
are an
just heard
anomaly, but
Paul
we
say,
don't know enough people
What I'm
to
I
say
just
saying,
heard
what
things
I'm
are an
saying is,
anomaly.
what
okay,
I
all
just
right.
heard
I'm trying
Paul
to.
say was I just heard Paul say they need to get sold a royal oats. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
no, but I'm
Right.
saying, he's saying, get it out your system. But what if I like this? If I like the
Okay.
fact that
So then, what?
if
So then,
I'm
now let
starting
me
to
respond to that.
listen, hold
Then
on,
let me
I ain't
respond. You
even
don't have to
finished.
go a
How you
whole
gonna respond and I
soliloquy
ain't
about
finished?
it.
How you gonna respond and I ain't finished?
You got to give a whole story behind it. I already heard what you said. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Never
bro.
mind. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. Respond
Because
to
all
what
you're
I
gonna
said.
say, all right. If you've done that from the time that you first had sex up until your late age, that's who you are,
Somebody could be
right?
at a certain trauma or whatever, something
Somebody
that
needs to mute themselves. Mute
Really?
yourself.
Isaiah, are you trying to talk in the conversation?
yeah, well,
Okay, go
at
ahead,
that
Isaiah.
time it's like
I'll
I,
Hey,
yield to you. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
no, I'm gonna keep it a whole 100. I'm trying to figure out how y'all got on to where y'all talk about from what I heard y'all talk about before I joined. That's why I was just like what's going on?
It's all it
it's
all
all
falls,
good.
it all falls in the relation of promiscuity and monogamy because that's what that's what they saying like a woman having a certain past and then she gets older, let's say a woman in her past that she ate she drank the Kool-Aid, she was conservative and didn't have a lot of sexual partners, didn't experience a lot of her fantasies and the things that she actually wanted to do under the fear of being judged by the society for that type of behavior. Then she turns 50 and she's like, you know what? Fuck what everybody think. If I want to put three dinglings in my mouth, guess what? I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right. So
Thanks. She
my
made
point.
half a fucking century. She
Hey,
deserves that
Now,
right.
my point was this. What you said. If you did that in your youth and you continued in it, that's where you are. That's where the fuck you are in your life. I get it. I've done that. I don't need to be involved with a woman who's in a lifestyle, right? Let's take. Let me put it in this perspective. You have women that are 50 something years old, been in the lifestyle since they were 20. right? That's that fucking whoever the fuck you want to fuck the way you want to fuck. Guess what? I did that shit when I was 20 to 30 years old.
Paul,
I don't want to
I
do that.
never had turkey
So
ribs.
hear me out.
Paul, I never had turkey ribs until I was 33. I'm
Okay,
not gonna
but that
stop
ain't got
eating them
nothing to do
motherfuckers.
with
Listen to what I'm
you
saying. Yes,
interrupting
because
me.
you're saying
You
when you start
interrupting
doing
me
something,
before I can land my plane, bro. Why are you doing that? Why are you interrupting me before I land my plane? Is it that I'm starting to make a little too much rational sense for you?
you
Oh
just did the
mercy.
Because
same thing.
here's
But go
what I'm
ahead, though.
saying. Here's what I'm saying. Ultimately, here's what I'm saying. When you are young and you to your response to me, if you've already been doing it and continue to do it, for me, if that's who you are, that's who you are. But I don't want that lifestyle. I've done that shit already. There's nothing about that is alluring to me anymore. I'm not
That's
fucking, oh
cool.
damn, I can get another broad too. That bitch, I did that when I was 20 something. I don't give a fuck about
That's
that shit
cool.
now.
May I
Paul, my
piggyback off of
rebuttal
what
is.
Paul is saying? Hold on, cause
Let me
y'all
rebut
talking
it
over
real
each
quick
other.
first. Then you can pick it
Yeah,
back.
It was these
y'all.
My
turn.
re-
But it was these
let me
turn.
My rebuttal to that, Paul, is no matter what age you started at, I don't give a fuck. If I found out threesomes was a shit at 15, at 30, 45, 60, that's when I found out it was the shit. I'm not gonna say, oh, because I didn't do it in my youth that I can't do it now that I'm fucking 50 years old. That don't make sense. Whenever
And
I
I'm gonna
find
call you
out
late for
something,
dinner.
listen to what I'm saying, Paul. Whenever I'm comfortable enough, like I've never went skydiving. So if I wait till I'm 45 to go skydiving, I'm like, damn, this the best shit ever, and I want to go skydive every week. Then that's what the fuck I did because now I'm comfortable enough to go skydiving. See what I'm saying? Same thing with
You
sex. If
still
a
ain't
motherfucker wanted
changed,
to,
D. You just
never mind,
parroting your face. You
Just
just
let him land
parroting
his plane,
yourself, bro.
Paul. Let him land his
never
plane.
mind.
Let him land his plane, Paul. Show
But
his
you're not
face.
getting it because you keep trying to make it about an age thing. I'm saying is when people comfortable. So the reason why she did it when she was 50, had the threesome when she was 50, is because she's no longer cares about what the fuck society thinks about what she's going to do with her body. So she decided
She
to have a
shouldn't have
threesome.
did it.
If she felt
She
like that when she was
shouldn't have.
20, go
Mugabe,
ahead, Paul.
Let
Mugabe
him
got this.
finish.
After he
He's
finished,
just
Mugabe
saying
got it.
bullshit. He's saying the same shit he said earlier,
Never mind.
and
Hey,
you saying
go
let him
ahead, Moody
repeat it.
Wise. It's
You
bullshit because
keep
you don't
saying
agree
let him
with it.
repeat itself.
It's bullshit
Well,
because you don't agree with it. Go
No,
ahead,
because you're
Moody.
starting to make too much sense, D. That's why I said
All you guys
He
repeat
ain't
yourselves.
making
So
too much sense.
that's not
He's
even
saying the same shit. He's saying the
I'm
same
because
shit I
you
was
keep
you
saying the
repeating,
same,
saying the
and
same
he's
shit
bringing it
right?
back
too,
up.
Because you
Paul.
keep saying
What you doing,
I'm
man?
rebutting your point.
Whatever,
So if
man.
you keep
But
making
you
the
keep
same
bringing
point,
up the same point. If it was a different,
Okay, go ahead, Mugabe.
all right. I want to say this, and this is to piggyback off of Paul's point, and I don't, and I know he's adamant about what he's saying, so maybe he's not articulating it well. The the 50-year-old woman that decides to say, "Hey, I want to explore my sexuality and be in whatever type of relationship she chooses to be in." She has all right to do that. More than likely, very few men are going to take her seriously in the spirit of a relationship. One, she's already hit the wall. Two, she waited till she was 50 to get the whole shit out of her system. I think this is what Paul is trying to illustrate. If you're going to have the whole face, and I said it earlier, ain't nothing worse than waking up to a woman at 40 plus years old and she decides she want to get her whole phase out. You don't want that. So again, this is one of them things where unfortunately I didn't make the rules. Women age like milk, men age like wine. It is what it is. So a broad point blank, it just is what it is. You are at as a woman at 50, 40, 39 years old, barring very few exceptions, you are not as desirable as women in their 20s, as women in their 30s. in the overall sexual marketplace. So if you wait until you're 40, 50 years old to start having these desires to do these type of things, the odds of you being in a committed relationship with most men is slim. I completely get what Paul is saying. That woman can do whatever the fuck she wanted to do. She has a right to do it. Kudos to her. But for her to develop the quote unquote loving monogamous relationship after that thing was exposed is probably going to be slim to none. And
I
I'll
don't
land the
think
plane.
I don't think she really cared. And I want to ask the men on this question because this question, all my life, I've always heard women age like fine wine. When the fuck did this shit start getting applied to men?
Somebody lied to you. Women don't age like fine wine.
No,
Women age
that's
like
not
hot
we.
milk.
Are you out your mind? Black women do not age like that. Black women do not age like that, and you know that. We do not age
Women
like that
age like hot milk.
unless they were just out there not taking care of themselves. So stop it.
Can I ask the question? Moody Wide, would you rather a I mean a 20-year old hoe or a 45-year old hoe?
Right now, right
Whenever
now,
time, would you rather a 20-year old hoe or a 45-year old hoe?
I don't want to hoe regardless. But if I
Okay,
just
so
had to
stop
choose,
saying that it
listen
matters
at
what
what
age. Listen, you
listen
answered
at
my
what I'm.
question already. You answered my question. So it don't matter what
I
age she
wasn't
is.
done
You
Why are
know,
answering
so
the
many people
question
trying to
though.
talk?
I wasn't done answering the question. I don't want to hoe regardless, but
that's the answer.
I think there's a better chance that if a chick was and if she's going to be a hoe, if hoe is in her destiny, if being a hoe is if being promiscuous in her destiny, I would hope she got it out of her system by the time I run across her. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying, D.
so good you hope that, but what I'm saying is that you don't like hoes, period. So stop putting the age on it. Stop saying that women need to be hoes in their early 20s and then be doing this when they're 45. You're not going to deal with a hoe no matter what age she is, whether she's 25,
You're
35,
totally
45,
you
55.
totally missed my point.
I'm
That's
not
not
missing your
true.
point. How am I missing the point? You're claiming that I just asked you, would you rather a 20-year-old hoe or a 45-year-old hoe? You said you don't want a hoe, period. Right?
I
Right.
said
Okay, so it doesn't matter
right.
what
No,
age
no,
she
that I
is.
didn't say right.
Hoes,
Paul said right.
I said right.
but you said that. But you said that. That's what you said.
Listen at what I'm saying, family. Listen to me very
Oh,
carefully.
here we go.
Mercy.
Maybe it
Clean
never
it up.
happened
Clean
to
it up.
you
Clean it up,
because
bro.
maybe it never happened to you because of your age, so you don't really understand.
What?
The most fucked up thing that can happen to you as a man is having a quote unquote good girl that wake up one day and decide she's 39, 45 years old and she want to have a whole face, and you done did everything you could for this woman, and now all of a sudden you got to deal with this outright and disrespectful promiscuous behavior, and it has nothing to do with you. I would prefer to fuck with a woman that got that shit out of her system in her 20s, maybe her 30s. So by the time she gets to me, she's like, she done made a choice. I don't really like that lifestyle. I'm gonna try to be a better woman. I don't did all my sucking and fucking. I didn't did all of my whatever her ultimate is. It might have been threesomes. It might have just been fucking somebody's friend. We don't know what her ultimate is, but I would like for her to get that shit out of her system before I fuck with her. Because you wake up and your broad is 45 years old, you got a whole lifestyle built together, and she start running in the streets, fucking niggas 25 and sucking and fucking, you go feel like you go want to kill that bitch, bro.
No,
You go
I agree.
literally want to.
I
I'm just
agree. I
telling
bet
you.
not.
Oh, so it's about how you feel.
But that's what it is though.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Exactly. See,
It is. It should be.
it's about how you feel. If that woman was able to not have to worry about societal uh judgment, right, and was able to be who she was from the get go, that wouldn't be none of your concern, Moody. Why? Because she would have been hoeing early on,
Bro,
later on,
I,
whenever the fuck she wanted to do it. You see what I'm saying?
Now,
So we
we,
keep. That's what I said. The whole conversation we having is about what's natural and what we're trying to force on each other, right? You keep
well, you
saying that
can't
it's
you can't
natural.
say
Hold on,
that,
wait,
D.
time out. Let me, Paul. Let me finish. Moody Wise stance is
I
that
want to respond.
naturally, we are promiscuous beings. But he has a problem with women being their natural selves. Does that make any
Even at
sense?
50. Even at 50.
Come on,
Okay,
man. That don't make no sense.
Right.
here's why I say you
and
can't. Okay, go ahead,
but
my brother.
what you're doing is cherry picking the conversation, bro.
I'm
No.
I'm
not.
not the one, bro. Can I finish? I'm not the one an hour ago that said that we teach girls to keep their legs closed. I'm not the one that said that.
I didn't say you
I'm the
said that.
one. I'm the one. Stop. I'm the one that an hour ago literally said I teach young adults. Don't worry about a relationship. Get your shit together. I'm not the one sit up here that tell young people to be this sexually pure and don't do this, that, and the other. That ain't me. I'm not the one that's putting that in their heads. It's not whatever she got from her family, whatever she got from her church, her synagogue, her mosque, her social settings. That ain't got shit to do with me. So when that shit falls off and she want to be a hoe, that has absolutely nothing to do with me. You dig what I'm saying? I'm saying that
Right,
once she gets to that point, and when she gets to that point, I would hope she get to that point before she meet me. I don't want to have to
right,
deal with that shit.
You're not
right.
I don't.
listening, Moody. My point is, why do you have an issue with a behavior that
Lord
you
have mercy.
consider natural? It shouldn't be, if whatever point she gets to the point of being a promiscuous woman and enjoying her sexual desires, right, should never be an issue for someone who believes that this is natural for humans to have this behavior. It should never be an issue for you, bro. That's what I'm saying. I don't give a fuck if she's 20, 35, 60, 75 on her deathbed. Whenever she gets to that point, it should never be an issue to you because you understand that this is natural. This is what comes with being a human being. That's what I'm saying.
No. My issue is a extreme change in behavior. That's what my issue
But
is. My issue is
no, no,
stop,
wait.
stop, stop,
I
stop,
got you.
stop, stop.
I
My
said I got
issue
you. That's
is
it.
an extreme change in behavior, bro. If
Mhm.
if I see a certain behavior that's a certain way for X amount of time, X amount of years, everybody tell you, don't change up on me now. You don't change a horse in the ninth inning. You know what I mean? If you were a particular way and now you're not that particular way, I don't know this new motherfucker.
I got you.
I don't know her. I would rather you got that shit out your system before we got together instead of having to go through that thing with you. If that's in you.
Mhm.
I get what you're saying, but my
Master
point
teacher,
still
thank you for
stands, bro.
putting
It's
things
like
in perspective for me, Mugabe. Thank you for finding the words that I struggled to find. I appreciate you. I'm gonna shut the fuck up
No
now.
sweat, bro. No sweat.
I think that with every conversation, right? And y'all, it seems like it always goes back to how men feel. And fuck how what women want to do and how they feel.
Mhm.
It
Right.
always goes back to how men feel. It's really weird to me, but hey.
Mhm.
I'll say this to that. I think it should always be up to an individual how they feel. If a woman feel like she want to do it, that's her prerogative to feel
Right,
and act on it. And it's a man's responsibility to feel and or rationalize what he wants to deal with. So when we
right.
say we don't like something about a woman, and yes, at that point for me, it has to be something about you that I like about you to want me to support you in order for me to say it's about you. If you're doing something I don't like, how the hell can I remove how I personally feel about it and support you in something that could be harmful, such as this sexual promiscuity, such as what could destroy or tarnish my uh, 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 image people see me as. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to
Mhm.
something like that, I have to protect that. I have to be concerned. You as a woman, you're worried about your happiness, then goddamn it, go be happy. Because
Right.
obviously I ain't making you happy. So take your happy ass on, and
You
now
do
I'm
make
gonna
her
worry
happy.
about what I think and
But
feel.
what I
So
was
why can't men and women do that?
let, let me respond. What I was talking about is the fact that you, Paul, said she should have gotten that shit out of her system in her 20s.
Right.
Yeah,
She
and then
shouldn't have.
Mugabe put it in
Hold on,
perspective. But yes, I
hold
did
on,
say
because
it. Yeah. So
he said the same
yeah,
thing. He just went all
yeah,
across the
yeah,
United States with it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so what I'm saying is, again, it's about, it's like women have to. It's like men want women to totally just conform to what they think a woman should and should not fucking do.
Right.
No, we have particular types of women we like. There are other men for her. I'm just not that one. There's another man for her, not me
May I
though.
address the host real quick? May I address the host? Tim, how you doing, brother?
What's going on, dude?
Great job, man. Great job. This is a great bill. I just wanted to say that first and foremost. And I want to ask a question. I know that you came from a particular upbringing. I came from a particular upbringing. You know where. Hey, what's up, man? Where we come from, the things that we experienced as younger dudes, that kind of molded our youth. Now, what do you think your wife would say if you never experienced that aspect of you, but here you are being a man in your 40s, but now you want to embrace that lifestyle
What you gotta do? Poop?
and
Yeah.
move in that manner?
Turn the fan
How
on.
what do you think would be her response to your newfound behavior?
Did you
All
feel
right.
it?
It would be it would be ridiculous. That's the whole reaction would be ridiculous. It would be
Can
Somebody,
you
Turn
mute?
the
it
fan.
Can
would be
you mute Isaiah? Because he's having a whole conversation somewhere else.
yeah, let me see. All right, I got it. Okay. So what he's talking about is that if at 40 years old, I just like, you know what? I'm finna go live the glory days that I never got to live. And I start toting guns and I'm start bringing dope in the house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Gang talk. I'm bigging back being bull and all of that. She would literally say what Paul said. Why did you wait until you was 40 damn years old to talk about you want to be this tough ass gangster shit there? I thought you got that out. You should have got that out in the glory days. It would be the same thing Paul said.
Right.
Literally.
Can
And
I
Literally.
But
ask a
why
question?
would
Can
you?
I ask? Hold on. Can I ask a question? Because I'm getting ready to piggyback off Madiwa real quick. May I ask this question?
Go ahead.
So, what about people who are married or in a relationship, monogamous relationship, commitment, whatever you want to call it, in their 40s and 50s? Now, this is going back to social media, the Facebook thing and the Instagram and the attention seeking. What about those who, you know, putting their dicks out there and putting their pussies out there and they're in a relationship somewhere else? What does that mean?
It means exactly the same
the
thing.
same thing.
Shouldn't you have gotten that shit out your system in your 20s? Why wait till you're 40 something to send dick
Nah,
pictures or 40
it's
something to send
it,
pussy pictures?
it means
What's that
exactly
about?
it means exactly what Tanya said earlier. Just because a person is doing something, and like what D said earlier, just because a person does something doesn't mean that's what they do in real life. Some
Okay,
people.
so is it okay to do that though? Is what I'm asking you. If people are married and they're doing this, is it okay to do that? Now, posting pictures is one thing, but dicks and pussies and titties and shit is another, right? So how do you think that would look in your marriage or relationship? I mean,
Well,
anybody can answer this
Thanks for
question.
proving my
I
point.
I I stand in the same position like what D was saying. Stuff that happens online and on the internet is not the same as what goes on in life. That I literally dealt with this in my relationship early on and throughout on both sides. So it just is what it is. It's just you come to a point to where like Mugabe said, what becomes more valuable, the loyalty or the idea and the presumption of monogamy. Like if
Right. So Paul and them is like, I wouldn't deal with someone who's doing that, showing they pussy pictures or showing they dick pictures and sending it to different folks and shit. So would you continue to deal with that? That's the question. In your 40s and 50s, when you should have did that in your 20s, according to certain people on this panel.
right, but that's the beauty of all of us is that we all have different opinions. Like Paul is 100% within his right. Like he said, there's a man out there that's for that type of woman, and there's a woman out there that's for the type of man that Paul is. And for everybody on here, there's literally somebody that matches and complements the personality you have. Now,
So are you okay? Is it cool for a spouse to go around showing their private parts on social media?
it depends on the
A-
dynamics. I can't say because I don't know the dynamics of this
In their
hypothetical.
40s and 50s, you think at that point it's cool?
I do. Like I said, I can't say because I don't know the dynamics of that relationship.
What he's saying is he don't know if his
Right.
if the spouse the wife may be okay with
Well, it might work for some people. It may
with
not.
you know what I'm saying, or the husband may know that
I
his
think in most
woman.
cases the spouse don't know, but okay, I'll take that.
Oh,
I'm sure, I'm positive the spouse don't know
I just think
majority of the time.
my
So
whole stance on this whole is the same. It's been the same from the beginning. We keep judging each other for being our. We all of us keep saying that we're naturally promiscuous, but as the
Right.
conversation progresses, we keep judging the promiscuous folk
Yeah. Right.
time and time again.
no,
Every
I
time.
totally agree with you, D. But the reason why I asked that is because the women are being judged, but not the men. That's why I asked the question that I asked.
Oh, I'm talking about both
I
sides. I'm talking
totally
about
agree with
men
what
and
you're saying.
yeah. I'm talking
No.
about men
But
and women. We judging
but
each
but
other.
but for some
Right.
reason, women are being judged a little bit more here. That's what I'm saying. It's beginning to
Right.
become very contradictory. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
This is
Yeah,
exactly
I
why I
got
brought that up.
Right.
I got
And what she said is fair, which is why early on in the conversation I tried to bring it into that, but it kind of segued back over to and
It always turns
want
into against
and
the women.
I
It
didn't
never
want
fails.
that's why I
Right.
was I wanted the women to talk because I didn't want the men to dominate the conversation.
And
Alicia
then
wrote
when
in the
I
chat and
said,
said she
and
wanted to
then
say
when I
something.
said, and then when I said, I don't give a fuck if my man got his dick bulging on Instagram, I was told I was lying.
So the only thing that I was
And,
gonna like
hey,
semi add, I mean, it goes back like I don't even know how long ago, but when we brought up the whole promiscuity thing and body count versus you know your history per se. What if it's something where it's like, which is this is gonna make everybody laugh, whatever. You've been with the same person, but you fucking every day. Does that make a difference? As if you know what I mean? That's the difference between the count and
Right. Well,
your
what if
rank.
you just don't want crackers every day and tomorrow you want a T-bone motherfucking steak?
Why you talking about white people like that? Why you gotta make
Well,
it racist?
nah, but I get what she's saying
no,
about if she fuck,
right.
she go from fucking every day. She
And,
a motherfucker. She probably tired of fucking shit.
now
For real.
this,
She
this is
fucking 24/7. You know what I'm saying? By the time she meet the next dude, she probably wanna, you know what I'm saying, cool out. Let's fuck every 2 days or something. You know what I'm saying? Let's
No, I'll
right, but
say it more like
that
when it comes to
also
the whole
go
body
ahead.
count. I mean, also there is the fact on how people determine that and how they count, but we won't even really get into that. But
Oh
just in
yeah.
general,
Right.
like if
And
you with
I
the
guess what
same
she's saying
person,
is what you versus you fucking the same nigga 100 times versus fucking a hundred different niggas.
100 different ones, right? But then
yeah.
what we were just talking about kind of goes to a point that Mugabe has made in different conversations that we had on different calls, and it's something that I agree with. It's like the whole concept of ending up, cheating being the deal breaker of all deal breakers. If somebody cheat on me, this whole relationship is over, and not actually weighing the whole situation. Like, so if you in a relationship with a person that's overall this is a good dude you got, and that dude understands that overall you a good woman, y'all are loyal to each other, y'all build the family, y'all got everything in order, y'all got similar goals, y'all working on the same path and all of that. If you're gonna throw all this shit away that you built over these years because one of y'all went out and got a little pussy or a little dick or something, then that's irrational. People.
No, some people have deal
Okay,
breakers. Some
I
people
can
have
Right.
deal
I
breakers.
Right,
that
and
aspect.
that's true. Some people do have deal breakers, but from a logical standpoint, it's not just an emotional standpoint, but from a logical standpoint, it's like, okay, don't make this a habit. It's like I'm gonna throw away everything we built over 20 years and then give it away to the next person that come along that's gonna get this full. You and this person molded each other into being the better versions of this person. Helped you become the better version of yourself, and you help that person become the better version of yourself. And because
And
this
why was cheating involved then if that's the case?
because that it happens.
Because
This
we're
Doesn't happen.
promiscuous, y'all
Okay,
keep saying.
so what? Okay, so are you saying so what if it's abusive and people getting hit and shit? They're
not
supposed to stay because they
No,
built
we're gonna
something?
keep. Let's keep
that's a,
it on
that's
Nah,
a,
sex.
that's a goalpost move, but
Yeah,
that's
let's keep
different.
it on sex. Let's keep it
That's
on
different.
sex.
So
that's
That's
I mean,
different.
I'll
Well,
say
I
this
have
in
deal
regards to
breakers and
that.
I'm not tolerating that. So that's just what I
I'm
don't. I
not.
don't care what was built.
I agree. I mean, my thing is, I'm not the
I'm not dealing
like.
with that.
So I'm like I reciprocate, and I have a PhD in reciprocation, right? Do
Mm-hmm.
not do no shit
Yeah,
that you don't want
that
getting
is the
done to
fuck
you,
out
because I promise
for
you,
Exactly.
people.
Yes.
I promise
Exactly.
you,
Hallelujah.
this is some shit that
Reciprocation.
you is not gonna recover from. Don't play with me.
Yes, Alita. That's my motto. Cheat
Not
back
playing
and
with me.
save
I
your
gotta,
relationship.
Because
yo,
apparently that's the way we communicate. If it's something where it's like, hey, I want to, do this and that with somebody else, okay, then make that be known. I'm actually may not actually have a problem with that. But if you do some sneaky shit, it's because it's not the fact that you actually necessarily cheated, which I do have a problem with, but it's the fact that you made me judge and you made me have an issue with my own standing, because nobody cheats and it's just up in black and white. All that's just been hidden, things being done in the background. You know what I mean? You ain't about to make me question my sanity. Now I'm gonna fuck you up
you talking
because
about
I'm all about
gaslight you
communication.
as
So
if nothing is
what,
happening. You gaslight you like nothing is going on. Oh, you tripping?
right, don't do that. So my
That's
thing
just
is
my
this: if
that's
that's the
my
way you choose to
friend. That's just
communicate,
my
I am
friend.
gonna give it back to you. I'm gonna give
Cheat
it
back
back
and
to you.
save your relationship. I'm a firm
well,
Match
do
believer
you?
in that.
I
energy.
got a question, Alicia. Your PhD
Yes,
in
sir.
reciprocation, is it only when things happen negatively towards you, or do you reciprocate everything?
Oh, I
Yes,
reciprocate everything. That's what
right.
I'm saying. If that I'm about communication. So if you show me this is the way you want this to go, I am absolutely going to give you whatever you're showing me you want, because you can always talk to me. So don't go do no sneak shit, because, like I said, I'm going to give you that shit back, and I promise you, your chest gonna hurt when I'm finished with
They
you.
not gonna
Don't
like. They hate.
do that.
They hate it. They hate
Do
getting
not
that
do
shit
that.
back with
I'm
them.
trying to tell you, because
They
I'm gonna look at
fucking
you like you
die.
funny at the end. Like, what? Oh, you didn't like that, but you did it though. Oh,
Right.
oh, uh oh,
You
oh.
know what's fucked up? You know
We're
what's
expected
fucked
to
up?
forgive and forget.
Nah,
But
nah. Here's a problem.
That's correct.
When y'all cheat back and we go, oh shit, the
Now
rabbit
your
got
chest
the
gonna
gun.
hurt fucking with
Hold
me.
on,
Don't do
hold on,
that shit.
hold
I
exactly.
on. When you
promise
say,
you.
You
oh
going
shit,
to the hospital.
when the motherfucker say, oh shit, the rabbit got the gun, she cheated back. The nigga try to get his shit together, but by then, because you cheated back, you women, let's be honest, y'all get in y'all feelings when you do it. So
That's
now
not
Mhm.
true.
you, so now
That's not
you're
true.
not just sexually
That's not
involved.
necessarily
Oh,
true.
you motherfuckers like get emotionally involved. You cheat because of your emotion, not because of you fucking your vagina. That's what
That's
No,
you
not
cheat
true,
actually,
back
Paul.
Paul,
for.
That's
let me
not
say something
true,
on that.
Paul.
Let me
That's
say
God
not
something on
damn
that,
lie.
necessarily
Paul.
true, Paul.
Let me,
Lie.
right,
Go
let me
ahead.
say something
Tell
That's
on
me.
that,
not
Paul.
necessarily true,
Tell me.
Paul.
Hold on. Alicia about to tell me how bad of a woman is. Go ahead, Alicia.
I'm
Don't tell
how
me how
bad at
bad you
what?
are.
You were breaking up. How bad at what?
Don't tell me how bad you are, how you handle shit. Go ahead. Come on.
I know
I'm
I'm
listening.
actually horrible. I'm about to break your whole world up. Watch.
Well, come on. Come on.
my
Come on. Let's go.
my thing is this: I don't have to cheat. Listen, I
Well,
don't
you
have
might
to cheat back. My intention and my goal is not necessarily to cheat back, because I didn't learn. I didn't gain. I don't gain nothing from that. I really don't.
I do.
But because I know myself enough to know that you will never have peace with me, if I decide that I really have an issue with that, I'm gonna go ahead and leave, because you won't have no peace. Because I
Right.
am petty enough to really like get after you every single day until I feel that I've taught the lesson. But that doesn't mean I got to cheat back. No, for what? For
that's
fucking what?
worse than cheating back. You might as well should have just cheated and fucking
As I said, you will never have peace with me. So I will just go ahead and okay, no problem, and that's it.
I want to address what Paul
wait.
said.
So you gonna
Let me
stay
tell
with
you
them and
something.
put them
Hold
through
on, D.
hell?
No, I'm not.
That's
That's what I said. I'm gonna leave
that's
because
why
I
she
know
said
I
she'll
will take
leave.
somebody through some hell
Oh,
if you
okay,
do
I
some
got
sneak
you. I
shit.
got
Because I'm about communication. Communicate with me. If you do some sneak shit and make me feel like I have to question my sanity, it's not gonna be worth it for you in the end. You're like I said, your chest gonna hurt fucking with me. So I'd rather just go.
Yeah.
And Paul, I want you to stop thinking that women cheat with emotions all the time. We definitely
I'm
don't.
not gonna
Oh,
We
stop
don't.
absolutely not.
thinking
Hold
it.
on.
I'm
We
not
don't.
gonna stop thinking
Okay,
it.
well, if
But
that's what
make
you
your
want to
point.
believe, you can believe that. But I'm
But
telling
make
you,
your
you're
point.
wrong. We don't
Make your
always
point.
have sex with men for with emotions, and we don't always cheat with emotions.
Why you had sex with him then?
Cause maybe I just want to get a fucking nut.
That's a feeling. That's an
No,
emotion.
I'm here. You know what I'm
No,
don't
that's physical. Don't
don't
even
do
try
that.
it.
Don't do that,
Don't
D.
even try it. Got you right there.
But
Don't
you
even say
said,
it.
but Tanya, you said cheat back. Why are you cheating back? Because you were hurt.
No,
That's what
I
cheating
said
back is.
you left the last part of it out. Cheat
What's the
back and
last part?
save your relationship.
Oh yeah, it can save it. I'm not saying it can't,
Right.
but you're
So, cause
cheating.
guess what? I
But
can't be mad at you because I just went out and did the same shit. So, nigga, we starting over or we gonna leave, whichever
but
one. The ball is in your fucking court. But
but
guess
the
what?
thing is, you cheated out of being in your feelings about it
No,
rather
I
than
cheated
talking
back
enough
No.
because
about
I
it.
felt like I felt like I cheated back because I felt like I wanted to fucking cheat back.
And no,
Right.
The
honestly,
fuck?
I don't know if y'all watch Family
You're
Guy.
not about
Remember
to
that
get.
episode where,
I cheated back because
with
you're not about to
Stewie,
get one up on me.
Hold on,
Right.
you know the
let
episode with
Lucy
Stewie and
talk.
Brian, where Brian was like, Stewie's okay, you get your lick back, and literally he would just keep like fucking with Stewie the whole time, but never actually hit him back. I'm gonna do shit like that, so you're just gonna have to go ahead and let me go.
I'm gonna get my lick back. And then guess what? We
Because
gonna
I
figure
don't,
it the fuck
right.
out from there. Get my
I
lick
don't
back.
want a green light to go cheat because for fucking what? Like that's easy. That's light work. The fuck? Why would I go cheat back for?
But see, I would rather not because how I approach relationships for real is like I'm really just and Moody, I kind of touched on this shit earlier. I'm really down to like if we have an open relationship, then let's do that. Don't try to trick me into monogamy, saying that you want me to be all for you. And I'm you all for me, and
Right.
then you go out and cheat on me. That's like a slap in the fucking face. Because really,
Exactly.
we could have just been open from the beginning. You do your thing, I do my thing. We take care of each other. We look out for each other, whatever. We can rock like that. But most people aren't comfortable with saying that shit in the beginning, and that's how
I
that shit
agree.
end up going.
But see,
But
do
I
you see
wanted
how
to
you
say
said
this
go
too.
out and cheat on
What
me? That's a slap in the face. Now I'm gonna
what I
punch you
want
in your face with the same shit and see how you like it.
now what I
Look, right,
wanted
your
to say
chest
is
gonna hurt. Don't play with
if I
me.
may, I
Don't
got
do it.
sidetracked. What I wanted to say, what I really wanted to respond to Tanya with when I was talking about the emotion, we got sidetracked, is when when you women do it. This is my opinion, my perspective from what I've observed. When you do it, it's out of a place of hurt. So because this motherfucker hurt you, I'ma hurt him. I'm a hurt. I know it's gonna bother him. And now, yes, I'm doing this to hopefully this will save our relationship. But in the midst of that, you guys also carry from time to time will carry a bit of a likening for a particular person, or maybe just the act of not, or with a particular person. Excuse me, I shouldn't have fucking did that shit. I shouldn't have hit that shit. What I'm trying to say is,
You just hit the pipe live
yeah,
and fucking stream.
nigga, shut the ain't no fucking pipe, nigga.
Y'all are so stupid.
Fucking the blunt, nigga. The fucking
Hey,
weed, nigga. The fucking
hang on,
weed.
hang on. Hey, hang on, everybody, real quick. Everybody that's on the panel, stay on the call. I'm not gonna end this call so we can continue to have this conversation. We just hit the 3-hour mark, and I want to thank everybody that stuck through with us.
Woohoo!
And until the next episode.
Yeah, I'll get on earlier next time.